seeing that little intro there is always energetic, always exciting to see. All right, so yeah, if you see the title of my live stream today, it's been a couple weeks, and those weeks have not been great. I came back from a little vacation to Tennessee and Kentucky, and I found my mom severely, let's say at that point, very lethargic, and didn't know what was going on there with that. And what happened, I ended up taking her to the doctor, and then the doctor suggested we take her to the ER to do some tests, and we were there for ER for about 11 hours. And I don't know about you guys. Make sure I'm coming through, guys. Yep, we got 11 viewers. Okay, cool. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot tolerate sitting in a hospital, in an ER of all places. A hospital is different. ER is the worst because you sit in this chair and you're constantly wondering what's going on. Why am I sitting here? So we're in the ER for about I was there for about 7 hours, and then I said I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go get some dinner. So I went and got dinner, then came back for another 3 hours and so all total 11 hours. And the diagnosis was she's dehydrated, severely dehydrated. Hi, Mike Corder. Just to prove you guys, this is live. I am actually on a live. We are live. Did it go? Anyhow. So in the whole ER for 11 hours, and realistically the reason why we were in the ER for 11 hours is because she's dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, you can't really give a urine sample. So we're in there for 11 hours. She's on an IV drip, and she finishes the IV. And they're like, oh, she can't give you finally, you go ahead and cath her. So she cath, and then they just make sure she wasn't having an infection. And it turned out, yep, she's dehydrated. So, so I had to rehydrate her. But what pissed me off was the caregivers that were watching her when I was gone that week. I realized when I looked at the footage, I had a little wise cam on it. I realized that they weren't doing much of anything. They left her in her chair the whole time. They weren't really doing jack squat. And one day they even left her in her chair the entire night. And I'm like, I got so fiercely mad. That's not what pissed me off. So what pissed me off was I came home one day and they threw one of my mom's heavy pillows in the washing machine, and it wrecked the washing machine. It wouldn't start spinning again. Like, that pissed me off. That made me go look in the footage and realize that they didn't take care of her. They were collecting the checks and not doing anything. Not doing anything to that I was paying them to do. Like, not leave her in the chair in the middle of the night. They weren't enforcing liquids. They were barely doing anything. So that was about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago. When I did the last live stream when I was editing that clip, I was so full of energy. I was ready to go. I'm like, oh, we're going to make a whole bunch of videos. Oh, I'm going to clear off that video board idea. I am going to make it work, man. And then, yeah, now that happened. And now I'm kind of resigned myself to sort of being half like part-time caregiver, basically. And then I'm going to have people come. Right now, I've got a caregiver at the new agency. I fired the old agency. I left some really nasty Google reviews. I threatened to sue them, and I haven't heard back anything from that. They demanded my money back. They were even like, we'll give you 4 weeks of caregiver services free. No. So, hello from Russia. Don't be sad. Everything will be fine. Yeah, the Russians would be the ones that would have that opinion. So the Russians. So anyhow, I've kind of resigned to like being at home at least 2 weekdays, working from home, and then kind of I can always escape for an afternoon or something like that. And then the other 3 days I have caregivers kind of coming to kind of give me. Right now, caregivers are there. Caregivers there. Which, she doesn't need a whole lot of help. She just needs to be able to go to the bathroom here and there. And my house is also a total and utter disaster. Like, I've gotten the downstairs cleaned up. I got to the point where I can have some friends over, and I made a brisket the weekend before July 4th, which turned out great. It was a 15-hour brisket. And I had some friends over. Of course, my one friend Tim, who's probably watching, He can't eat beef, so I made him chicken, but that turned out good too. But we had so I had the friends over. We were able to have a little something to eat, and then we watched The Batman on my new brand new TV. It's not brand new now. It's still it's worn in a little bit, but I really do love that TV. I definitely do want to, because I was actually in discussing with somebody who left a comment on my 24 frames per second video, the Defending 24. He was talking about, well, what do you recommend with OLED TVs? And now I think I need to do a video on this because I don't think people talk about it from the filmmaking perspective. They talk about it from the tech geeks perspective. But like, what's the settings when you're using OLED TV to like mitigate the issue that OLED makes 24 FPS look the way it looks? And I have a Sony TV. Every TV has something different, but the secret is black frame insertion. I am going down the path to say black frame insertion. I will shave my head. I already did that. And go down to the airport, put on those orange robes, and just sing praises to black frame insertion. Because black frame insertion is the key to making things look great. In fact, it's funny, when we were watching that Batman movie, The Batman, I was noticing, it's like a little soap opera. The reason why is because my TV installed an update, and then in the update it reverted all the settings to like the standard settings, and threw on that soap opera effect a little bit. But I had to go through there and turn that thing off. And I discovered, because it was really dark, and I turned all the lights off in the house just so that we could watch the movie. But it felt really dark. Still felt dark for even even with the lights turned off. And I didn't realize till after they left that it had eco mode on. And eco mode means everything's dark. So you can't. So I had black frame insertion and eco mode. It's like, oh, now this image is really dark. Shalom, my brisket-loving friend. Oh, the brisket was terrific. I cooked it in the oven. I tried to do a Texas-style brisket in the oven with liquid smoke. You put it over a water bed of liquid smoke and let that cook for 15 hours. And it worked out good. But yeah, black frame insertion is the key. So right now, luckily, I have a couple projects, a couple weddings I've shot that I need to go and finish, but every day is just kind of like, I feel like in a cloud of despair. I don't want to make it sound too dramatic, although I am a filmmaker, I'm a director, I want to make it sound dramatic, but it just feels like I'm just kind of going through the motions, and I'm like not totally there, so I can't bring myself to edit. But then when I do edit something, like I edited a video of myself playing trumpet, and I got a kick out of that. And I got that old high. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many other filmmakers out there who, do you ever make little small things and then you just watch them over and over again? Like I do that. I don't know about you guys. Like if I make a little something, and all it was just me, I was kind of peacocking. I don't virtue signal on Facebook. I peacock. Like I don't ever want to tell everybody how good I am. I want everyone to want to be with me. I want everyone to want to hang out with me. Like you guys are hanging out with me. I want you guys to hang out with me. I don't, you can probably think I'm an ass. You can think I'm a jerk. I hope you don't think that. I'd rather peacock and say how cool I am rather than say how good and moral I am. Which, if you live in the U.S., is what everyone's doing right now, is virtue signaling. But anyhow, I'm not a virtue signaler. I'm a peacocker. So I'm on Facebook, and I put up a little video of me. I'm practicing the book for the next musical I'm going to be involved with. And there's this really crazy transition. I have to play a flugelhorn, real soft and pretty, then jump to a trumpet and play real high, fast, and loud in like an instant. And the actual music says like brash, and tasteless. And like I could do that. I'm totally down for brash and tasteless. So I was playing and I recorded like 45 times because like whenever I play trumpet and record myself, I'm never satisfied with the first take. I'm never satisfied with the 10th take. I can get one good take and I'm still not satisfied because I'm that kind of personality. I just have to do it a million times until I finally. It's like it'll take me like 5 good takes later. Like okay, I've had enough, and then I'm done. You said it more or less black is beautiful, or at least it makes you beautiful. LOL. I don't know when I said that. I'm not black. I mean, maybe if I identify as black, I might get away with it. Uh, so Mindo says we all do that, especially if you do VFX, right? Do you ever do like VFX and like you make something cool and then I don't know, sometimes, not everyone's allowed to post their work on Facebook. Personally, like I never put client work on Facebook unless I feel like the client would be really good, okay with me doing it. I never try to do that because to me it crosses a line. Like I never, maybe I'll take a picture of like a setup or something like that. Like, oh, I'm setting up, but I'll never post stuff online that it's a client job. But if you're doing a personal thing like a cool effect or a fireball, you record it, and especially if it's like a short thing, like a minute long, you put it on Facebook. You just watch that endlessly on loop. In fact, that's the whole story of why Spielberg got into directing. The whole story, and if you guys, I'm going to bore you with if you already heard it, probably heard it better from Spielberg. He used to have these toy trains, these little electric, and he would set them up and he would like crash them into each other, and they and he's like, yeah, that's awesome, that's really cool. And then his dad's like, you crash that train again, I'm not buying you another one. And he's like, oh shoot, well I keep crashing, I keep breaking them. But my dad's getting pissed off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to borrow my dad's 8mm film camera. I'm going to film it. So he filmed the trains crashing, and then he watched that film over and over and over again. That's kind of what was the bug that got Spielberg into making films. And I feel like nowadays it's like, I mean, come on, like every kid these days has probably got to be doing like black insertion. There it is, John. Sorry, the chat's behind where my mind is. And that's what you meant by black. Yeah, black frame insertion. Awesome. So anyhow, yeah, nowadays like kids getting into like Lego brick movies, brick animation. I can imagine that nowadays kids are going to get hooked on filmmaking a lot quicker. Speaking of hooked on filmmaking, I think I'm going to be doing a little bit. Hopefully, if you're in the Southern California area, if you're in the Inland Empire area of California, and you want to take a class at a junior college, at a Mount San Jacinto Junior College, I will be teaching Digital Video 1, my first run through here this fall, which starts in August. Enrollment's not quite open yet, but we're going to open it up pretty soon. It's my first time. I've talked about this before on stream, but I finally got into the course materials. So that was presented to me. You don't have to buy a book, which is awesome. You don't have to buy a book. But you do have to have an Adobe subscription or some other way of getting Adobe. But you have to have some sort of Adobe, and I think you can get it through the school, like you get a cheap discount. So that's the book, really. But we'll be doing, it's a 3 sections class, and I'm excited to try this out and get a feel for inspiring new people into the world of filmmaking or video making. It's mostly going to focus on videos. We're going to start off real basic with kind of learning some of the basics of Premiere, do some montage. And then we'll break into a small, I believe we're doing a small video after the montage, quick little edit, and then we're actually going to do a mini documentary. So those are the 3 things. There's going to be 3 that we're going to do in this class. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll get back to your chats here. Mana says, "Whoa, is my comment going to be on screen?" Nah, I don't think we're not going to do that. Take that comment off the screen. Bye. Go. There it goes. I feel amazing anytime I create anything, whether it's film or welding, as long as I create my best. Yeah, I agree. Mindo, you hit the nail on the head. Like and maybe that's why you're hanging out with me right now. Like I'm a maker. Like I don't. I've been doing some video gaming lately. I've been playing some video games, but like to me, video games are fun, but they're not satisfying. I mean, they're a good way to while away some time, but they're not like the satisfaction of like I like making stupid stuff. Even like this little angry 3D print. That's what the 3D printer stuff. All the stuff back here is stuff that I've made, and it satisfies me more than like a video game. And films are ultimately really satisfying because then you get to work with people and create something, and you can watch. I think that's why I like film more than I like actually doing theater. Like I enjoy doing theater as a performer, as a I love because I'm going to be doing 3 shows back to back, so I'll be busy every weekend, starting next weekend, doing shows at the Moonlight in Vista, California. So if you're in Vista, California, you want to have a nice picnic under the stars and come see a legitimately professional production where yours truly will be playing trumpet and a certain section will be playing brashly and tastelessly, then come on down to the Vista Moonlight Amphitheater in Vista and see Something Rotten, and followed by Ragtime the Musical, and then Kinky Boots. Kinky Boots. Let's see. Is it Repro Edros says, never ask for something you already have, like rights. Cool. Yeah, I don't, I can express my opinions on what's going on with American politics with that. I'm not really in the mood. I don't really want to talk about my opinion. I mean, we can get into it if you guys are going to start prying, but just bought Final Draft 12. Cool. Full military discount. Nice. Now I have to learn to write so a director can put my thoughts on the silver so a director can put my thoughts on the silver screen. I haven't written in a while, but the other day when I wrote a really long Facebook post. I just trying to go. So I took my mom to get a colonoscopy. So yeah, forgot to mention it. While all this dehydration stuff was happening, like a week after, my mom had to do a colonoscopy. Colonoscopies with somebody who can't walk well and has dementia is one of the hardest things to do because it involves a colonoscopy prep, which means you drink a laxative, which makes you shoot out your butt. And if you can't walk to the bathroom, well, what am I going to do? So I ended up, the night before the prep, I just sat her on the toilet like, you got to drink this. I'm going to leave you on the toilet because you can't really, if I move you, you're going to go and then, you're going to be stuck on the couch and go on the couch. No, we'll just leave you here. So that was tough. And then, my mom has a moan that she makes because when she's not comfortable, she's just like, It sounds like she's in pain. She's not in pain. She's just maybe uncomfortable. So I had to deal with that all night. And then I took her to, then wake up really early in the morning for her, which is 6 a.m. And then get her the second half of the colonoscopy prep, which is just, at that point, you're just shooting out yellow liquid. It's not even food anymore. It's just yellow stuff that's coming out of you. So I had her drink her colonoscopy prep, had to be done by 8 o'clock. And then, okay, well, you're going to colonoscopy, I'll give you a bath. So I get her in a bath and I wash her up because my bathroom's now finished, finally. And then dry her off and then, oops, here comes some more yellow stuff. Here we go. So I had to wash her down again. I'm super tired. I'm about to fall asleep because it's I've been up for so long. I take her to the colonoscopy place and then she's having trouble getting out of her chair, getting out of the car. So I'm getting a little terse. I'm like, move your foot. Come on, move your foot. Come on. And I think the guy next to me, who was a grade A asshole, I'll say it, a grade A asshole, prime beef asshole, 100%. His entire face is an ass, right? His whole thing is it's literally a crack right down his face. He starts yelling at me, why are you abusing your mom? I'm it's okay. I've got it under control. Why are you? That's elder abuse. That's elder abuse you're doing to your mom right there. And I said, why don't you mind your fucking business? And then it just became, oh yeah, well fuck you. Well fuck you. Fuck you. I didn't want to say suck my dick because I didn't want him to suck my dick. I really did not want his asshole face and his stupid beard. He had a little stupid beard and he was bald. Wait, I didn't want him to suck my dick. I really did not. So I didn't want to say suck my dick. I didn't say that. I did not say that because I didn't want him to do that. I wanted him to go fuck himself. I wanted to insert, a big, maybe some sort of a cat o' nine tails. Just get up there and just right there. Yeah, I told him to go fuck himself, right? Get her in the colon, and I'm shaking. I am so pissed off. Don't fucking accuse me of elder abuse after all the shit I've been gone through the last week here. I'm shaking and I'm ready to like, I'm getting her checked in, make sure she's okay. I'm ready to go back out there and just like have it out with this guy. He's like, come on, I'm going to punch your lights out. And, well, he ran away. He ran away. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to drive around and calm down. So my mom's getting a colonoscopy. I'm driving around. I'm like, okay, I'm calming down. Okay, can get her. Oh, colonoscopy went well. Doctor's like, oh, nothing. We found a couple polyps, cut them out, going to biopsy, no big deal. We're not concerned. It doesn't look anything weird. Cool. Go home. And I call my friend Tim, like, to help move a desk out of my house. And then I hear ding dong. I open the door. Oh, it's the sheriff. So I got the sheriff now at my front door. Say, are you the owner of that car? So I guess this asshole that he pulled his butt cheeks off of his head, like to dial the officers, the police, to report me for elder abuse. So we got a report of elder abuse at the Murrieta. Like, okay, all right, come on in. So my nerves were so raw at that point because they told the guy to fuck off. If you tell people to fuck off, especially my personality, you get me to the point where I tell an asshole to fuck himself in public, nice and loud, so everybody can hear. And somebody was asking me like, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, "He just accused me of elder abuse." I told him to go fuck himself. Right there. But like when you have my personality and you get to that point, that is not like, oh, average everyday angry. That is, I'm going to murder you. Like I would have faced down. I would have done that American History X thing and just put him on the curb and pa-pam. I would have done that. I did not. However, it would have been in the realm of possibility. In the multiverse, somewhere out there in the universe, there is a version of me that committed murder that day. Hopefully this will not get me on the FBI watch list. I don't think it should. But remember, that's the multiverse. We're not talking, it's some other distant universe. Maybe where maybe I have a full head of hair in that universe. Maybe I'm an exotic dancer at that point. I don't know. Who knows? Anyhow, I was so upset. So anyhow, the police, and part of me was like, remembering that video, don't talk to the police. Don't talk to the police. But like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to say it. Like, come on in, officer. Let me show you my mom. Here's the situation. This guy was being a dick. He was saying horrible, saying I was committing elder abuse. I was trying to move her foot out of the chair. I was getting a little terse. I admit, I was raised my voice a little bit because, not having slept and then washing her, shooting yellow liquid out of her butt, it can drive people a little bit crazy. And then having also gone through the whole thing where I'm firing my agency for neglecting my mom. That wasn't a great mood. So I kind of explained everything as calmly as I could. But you're talking to the police. It's never cool. You're never calm talking to the police. Because they're accusing you of something. Right? There's the power dynamic between you and the police. It's not like, oh, how you doing, friendly Officer Krupke? Welcome to my home. Let me help. No. This is antagonistic, right? Now, there's no reason to like raise that heat with a police officer, obviously, because you can go to they got the gun, So anyhow, the police officer, the sheriff, said, hey, okay, I think I understand. I've got parents of my own. He wasn't super like, it's okay, but he went away. So it wasn't that big a deal. I'm still online, right? Yep, we're still good. Still rolling. As I spill my heart out. So yeah, that was last week. Anyhow. So yeah, that was the whole story. So I was writing. Now you got me. How I got on this was somebody was talking about Final Draft, right? Okay, so how we got here? So I wrote this long Facebook post detailing the tribulations of that particular day. And I wrote a couple lines in there that, like, when I wrote them, I felt really inspired. Like, because the lines I wrote were about, like, dealing with depression and dealing with, like, self-pity. Because, like, my whole life, I've kind of dealt with self-pity. And I wrote something, I didn't remember exactly what I wrote. Something like, I forget exactly what I wrote. But it was a really great line, and I kept reading that one over and over and over again, and it felt like it was really, that was a good feeling. So I like to do some more writing, I guess. Some actually serious writing. We did write a couple things. Yeah, that's a difficult situation you have been. Yeah, sure, no kidding. Are you gonna make any films, short films soon? So that's kind of lead me into this other thing that we talked. So my friend Joe and I, we've talked about this on stream. The events of my life have not been conducive for more action happening on this. However, we have completed this. We have made some progress, and hopefully maybe this week we will finish the idea is I wanted to write 3 what I call kitchen table dramas. They're not necessarily have to do with kitchen table. The kitchen table term comes from an old style of television drama where they're basically it's like soap operas or a certain kind of genre. Kitchen table dramas are like usually personal stories between two people that take place in a home setting or an everyday setting. So I don't know, what can you example, like maybe and it's usually referred to television production, especially the guy that wrote the courtroom drama, not the courtroom, the juror, the 12 Angry Men. That guy that wrote that, I think he wrote quite a few of these others. They called them kitchen table dramas, but basically they're like dramas about real people in everyday life. And I felt, well, honestly, I don't know. I follow a lot of people on YouTube. So my whole marketing philosophy is if everybody's doing something, do the opposite. That, in fact, that's kind of like the whole marketing strategy of every time we sit down with one of my producers that when we work with other corporate clients, we talk about like how the best strategies. It's generally if everybody's doing X, do Y. That's generally how you boil down everything we do. So everybody I know on YouTube, or everybody I see on YouTube that does like filmmaking stuff, always does the high-end superhero guns firing at people, crime, drama, those kind of movies. And I don't see anybody making drama. I don't see anybody making drama. Now, it may be because on YouTube, drama sucks, and you could never be able to make any viewers on YouTube making drama. But if there's one thing that's proved myself in the last 3 years of running this channel, it's that I do not make viewers. I am the worst thing for viewership. And I've even got my voice of my old producer in my head saying, why are you doing this live stream where you're yakking about your life and talking about plans that may not materialize? Because I don't care anymore. I have gotten to the age, I'm going to be turning 40 in about 2 weeks. I do not care. So I am going to put stuff out in the universe, and I don't care if it gets a lot of views. I mean, yes, I care if it gets a lot of views. I'm not happy when things don't get a lot of views. I'm happy when they get lots of views. That's true. But you know what? At the end of the day, I am not making, this YouTube channel does not make me enough money where I feel like I have to be beholden to whatever whims of the YouTube algorithm that I can do what I want. So at least maybe in that sense, I am free from the shackles of that particular monster. I want to do what I think I want to put out what I want to put out, and hopefully you guys will respond. And if you guys are watching this thing still, it's amazing. Anyhow, so the long point of that question is, am I going to make any films or short films? Right now, so we're going to do a table read. 5 more years until it's Wolfman time. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Am I Wolfman? Research versus gaslighting. I like that. Nice title. All right, so the point is 3 scripts. We're going to do table reads. I don't know how we're going to do this yet. I got to find some time on my schedule to make table reads, but we're going to do table reads. And we're going to sit in my office here, and we're going to read these 3 scripts. We're going to have maybe a couple actors that I know. Just bring them in, and we're just going to read them for you. And then I'm going to put it up to a vote. And then if I get like 5 votes, or if I get 100 votes, doesn't matter. Whatever gets voted, the highest voted, that's the one script we're going to make. The rules are it's a 5-page limit max, 5 or 6 pages, so no more than a 5-minute scene. No more than a 5-minute scene. And the rule is basically they're all two actors. It's always going to be two actors. And the first one is and they're all dealing with topics that are not easy. And my rule when I'm writing these kind of topics, because the first one's about COVID vaccination, the second one was about police, and the third one's going to be about elders and how to handle elders. I wonder. Both me and my friend Joe have family members we've had to take care of, so they're all close to home. But the rule always is that we never portray any side as evil. We just don't, because that's not the reality. That's not the purpose of the kitchen drama. The kitchen drama is drama only feels right when it's between people that you can understand both sides of the view, and there is both sides of the view. They're not going to be preachy. God damn it! I do not want them to be preachy. They will not be like the social club you over the head with a social message. I'm not for that kind of stuff. I absolutely hate that. I think that's the most perversion of art. Art should be questioned, should raise the questions. Art should make the answers harder, not easier. When the answers are easy, it's not art. That's what I believe, right? I believe, and that it's so destructive in this social media world that we live in, where people just throw up memes and we've diluted big serious topics into something trivial and laughable, when they should be big serious topics and they should be worth exploring. But we don't do that because our society has become so frivolous, essentially. Anyhow, so again, I want people to approach these not from a particular like a propaganda side. I'm not trying to do that. I want to approach this as like real life dramas, stories, and I'll give the actors something to chew on. So that'd be good. And then we'll take a vote. Whichever one wins, that's the one we'll make. And then the other two, we may make them if we feel like it. So anyhow, that's the story. That's the plan. But you don't know what God does with plans. I'm just joining, says Cecilia. Hey, Cecilia. But I want to share that I appreciate the informative work. Oh, thank you so much. Hopefully we can actually do some more. Like the last live stream I did, I was editing something for this channel, and that was the last thing I've done for it, because like the day after, I literally had to take my mom to the ER for 15 hours. Don't worry, it wasn't like a bad ER visit. It was just like we need to do tests and we need to do them now. But 24 FPS, more. I have a script on what frame rate the eye actually sees. That it touches on 24 frames a second. It touches on the whole topic. I want to make it, like at some point I got to realize that whatever I do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whatever you do on YouTube. Like if you make some sort of informational video, put it out there, people are going to diss on you for it. Like last night, I did a video called the Forgotten War for Color Television. I was talking basically about the war between CBS and RCA in America that had in the creation of NTSC video color standards. Because it was a fascinating story to me. Very fascinating. And last night again, how come you didn't mention the Japanese involvement? How come you didn't mention the Mexican invention of color television? It's like, because they have nothing to do with the story I'm trying to tell. I'm trying to tell a story about RCA and CBS and the American color television technology. This is the realm of this particular story. And you want me to include the French thing, and maybe I didn't mention CCAM. I didn't mention PAL, just to kind of give you like a context. Okay, you didn't mention the Japanese, and it's like, whatever. I gotta like resolve myself. You know what? Doesn't matter. Criticize me. That's all part of the game. I mean, I can respond. I responded. I didn't respond harshly. I just said that's not the story I'm trying to tell. Oh, research versus guest. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Let's read it. Thanks for all your help while I was in film school. Awesome. I changed my ambitions again, though. Like life keeps changing. You know what? Cheers and thank you. You will never learning about filmmaking will never be a hindrance. It will only enrich in your life. It doesn't matter if you don't use it. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter if you went down the path of filmmaking and you decide, you know what, this is not for me. It doesn't matter because now you've enriched your life with the understanding of filmmaking, what it takes to make a film, all the things that go along with a filmmaking. You will bring that to whatever future endeavors you end up going with. That's the thing I believe about almost everything. And I used to get this question a lot when I would talk about things, and people would ask me, what does this have to do with filmmaking? And I would always respond, everything has to do with filmmaking. And ultimately, all life becomes filmmaking. Filmmaking is life. Life becomes filmmaking. It doesn't matter if you end up making this stuff for reals. You will go out. You will take what you have learned here, and go somewhere else and bring that experience, that richness of experience with you. So, congratulations and thank you for the super chat. Carolyn Kingsley says, sounds exciting. When I worked for Universal Studios Florida, I participated in table reading. Oh yeah, that's cool. Part of also too the table reads, I really want to bring in new people to work with. And because really I'm honestly like my friend circle is like stagnant. I want to have more people. So if you were out here, I'd invite you. We do need, I think, 3 women and 2 men for that particular shot. But you have to do the table read in black and white. See? No, black frame insertion. So I just walk in with a big black cardboard box and just insert it every 5 seconds. Black frame insertion. Make a series on movie trailer. I did a video on movie trailers, like the history of movie trailers. You go back, it's a few years ago. Tempest, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. How come you did not mention the invention of the eyeballs? Exactly. It's like I'm trying to talk about NTSC color. How come you didn't talk about the invention of Trinitron? What's wrong with you? Yeah, and part of it too is look the honest thing. I am small in that I am not a large operation. I'm a large person, not a large operation. I'm a big guy. I'm not gonna lie. All right, but so you're dealing with a human being when you leave a comment on my videos. I'm a human being. I read those. I think we get so used to like if you write to Gordon Ramsay's video, Gordon Ramsay's not going to read your comment. If you write to like Jimmy Kimmel Live, and you say you're a bastard, he's not going to read it. He ain't going to read it. But like my videos, I'm going to read it. And so sometimes when you people make these comments on my informative videos, it's basically to say, hey, I'm smart too. Like you got it wrong. I want to set the record straight and show how I know what I'm talking about. So a lot of it's it's self peacocking, I guess, if we're going to go down that route. What about my feelings? Exactly. Wild style photos, respect. Amen. Oh, did I get a name drop in Gerald Undun's video? What did he say about me now? Does he say I'm that bald loser? I think we're cool. I don't have anything against Gerald Undun. He's talking about frame rate or something. Like that one guy that talks about frame rate all the time. Ooh. That's me. I'm guilty as charged. I make those action short films you are talking about, but yeah, you got a sub here from the History of Horror and all those explained videos. But if the heart wants drama, you make a drama, brother. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm not trying to diss on all you action folks. It's like, well, when I was back in the MySpace days, like, Grandpa John's Grandpa John's getting on YouTube bitching about MySpace again. Oh, those old boomers and their MySpace. Okay, back on MySpace, my most popular, it used to be called a film forum. And I was a big part of the film forum. And I would, type, my name was Gospel John. If you don't know what Gospel John is, look up Gospel John Maynard Ferguson. That's why I was Gospel John, because I trumpet players love that song. Anyhow, so my most commented thread on that, which is the highest number of replies in that entire film forum, was, I am so sick of zombie movies. Because back in those days, like 2007, 8-ish, that's all people made, were either skateboarding videos or zombie movies. That's all people made. It was so annoying. And I was getting so tired of it. And this is back, and mind you guys, this is before The Walking Dead. This is before The Walking Dead, right? Like, this is like after 28 days, or 28, was it 28 hours later or 28 days? I think it was 28 hours later, or 28 hours, or whatever that movie was. Like, that was kind of kicked off the zombie craze again. Then every single, in the backyard, back then it was Backyard Effects. If you guys remember Backyard Effects, everybody was doing zombie movies. I was so sick of zombie movies. Like every independent movie was a zombie movie. And then when The Walking Dead finally came out, like my opinion of The Walking Dead, I watched the first season. That's all I've watched of The Walking Dead. I watched the first season, I'm like, this feels like I've seen this a million times. Because there's nothing particularly new or exciting about The Walking Dead. Of course, The Walking Dead is based on a comic book, which precedes all of this stuff. So, anyhow. Oops. Put up the wrong comment. Put up that same comment again. Hit the button. So, I'm not against action movies. I'm just like, I want something different. Like, I love that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I've seen it twice already. I'm trying to get my friends to watch it this weekend. I'm trying to force them. I'm going to tie them up Clockwork Orange style and watch this movie. Because to me, like, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is the package that I love. Which I like drama. I like action, but I like the drama part too. And I like the creativity. I like the style. I just love everything about that movie. I love that movie so much. If I could marry a movie, if that doesn't upset the crazy people out there that say marriage should be between a man and a woman, if I could marry a movie, that would be the movie I would marry. I would totally marry. I would piss off all the Bible thumping people that say, no, you cannot marry a movie. I'm like, just watch me. I'm marrying this movie. Okay, I'm being facetious, obviously. All right. Delshon is still in the black and white. You got to read the table read in black and white with the trench coats and words like, see, yeah, Lutz and Kappa. Discuss COVID as if Cal Capone and Dutch Schultz got caught instead of VD. There you go. Al Capone didn't die of syphilis. He died of COVID-19. Get him on a respirator, quickly. Any channel over 100,000 is not really responding to their comments. Unfortunately, I respond to almost everyone. Almost everyone. The least I respond to is I either give it a thumbs up or a heart. But that's like the least amount of response I will give you. But otherwise, I comment on everything. It was about the dynamic range chart. Which one did you talk? Oh, did you see? Oh, good. Yeah, no, cool. I feel like there are a couple topics I think I've moved the needle on in my own tiny little way. I think the first topic I moved the needle on was shallow depth of field. Like, for a long time, Tony Northrup was actually the first one, I think, to kind of like push the boundaries. And he got a lot of flack in the photo world for saying things like, smaller sensors have shallower depth of field. He got shit on, like Petapixel and places like that. And that he installed the brainworm in my head. Like, hey, why is he talking about? Is he crazy or is everyone else crazy? And it took me like a good year to research and thinking about it to develop my own video about depth of field. And then once I did my depth of field video, and Tony Northrup commented on my video and said, I'm glad I'm seeing this idea. So actually, Tony Northrup was one of the first ones to start this ball rolling. I think I started to move the needle too, and now I'm seeing like F-stoppers making a video where they're saying basically the same thing that I'm saying. Like, oh, and we're all saying the same thing here. Like this line, this thought line is going all the way through. So like that was one of the things. And then the dynamic range thing was another video that I think really hit home because a lot of people, it's like it, especially that one on the Blackmagic video camera. I talked to somebody. I was doing a ribbon cutting, and somebody recognized me. It never happens around here. Somebody actually recognized, hey, yeah, your Blackmagic pocket camera, the dynamic range video, I really like that. Like, oh, well, thank you. So if you do see me on the street, say hi. I don't bite. Unless you say I'm abusing my elders, then I will tell people. But yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad to say Gerald Dundon said something nice. That's nice. I don't really watch his stuff because I think he's a little too techie for me. I'm more artsy. I do more artsy stuff, but I respect Gerald Undone for sure. So thanks for the shout out, Gerald Undone. Zombieland for the win. Yeah, Zombieland was a pretty good film. When did that come out? I think that was right in the middle of that, like that hump. You know, when you talk about horror films, the history of horror, I always talk about this because people get so tunnel vision in the history of movies. There's always a cycle, right? First, it starts off Dracula. Oh my God, Dracula's scary. Everyone loves Dracula. That's amazing. Then it becomes Dracula 2, Son of Dracula. Oh, ooh, Son of Dracula. Then Bride of Dracula. Ooh, sexy, yeah. Oh, but, you know, it's kind of getting old. And then it's like Dracula and the Wolfman. Oh, get excited again. And then it becomes Dracula, Abbott and Costello meet Dracula. Now we're just laughing at the property, right? So everything always starts off really serious. They try to milk it, and then becomes absurd, and then becomes parodied. And then it comes back, and somebody else comes out, new vampires, Twilight, oh, Twilight, ooh, everyone's sparkly, hey, well, man, the parody, everything's a cycle. So yeah, Zombieland was that one of the early zombie cycles, the parody arch where it goes back on itself. And of course now Walking Dead, I mean, does anyone watch Walking Dead anymore? I don't know. I stopped watching after the first season because I thought the first season was well done. I just wasn't compelled by it. That's all. The Walking Dead would totally be improved by some skateboarding. Nicely done there. Well done, sir. Corella Entertainment says, I made Zombie Short 3 years ago. I would love for you to check it out. If you want to do that, send me an email on go to filmmakeriq.com, the contact page. Because we did this a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, we did live commentary. So I asked people to submit short films or videos or whatever, and I would go through them like shot by shot and talk about them. And I thought that was kind of fun, and I would love to do it again, but no one submitted anything since, so we haven't had time to do it. So you want me to watch your short film, if it's like, it's got to be under like 5 minutes, or if you just, show me like a 5-minute clip or something from it. We can like go through it like, and I can nitpick the hell out of it. If you want to see how deep I go, you go back a couple like weeks of live streams, you'll see the actual, I think I said live critique. But don't be afraid, it's not I think most people watch the critiques that are part of it. It's a growing experience. I never try to do it as it is criticism, but it's never a criticism from a bad place. I don't want to put anyone down. That's not the point of these things. The point is to show you where you could go with your thinking and what else you could do for the next time. That's all they are. And I got one short that was really well done, but we found a lot to talk about because that's art. If we really wanted to get down to it, we could nitpick Citizen Kane. We could sit down and go shot by shot and talk about every little thing. Now, is this guy sitting here who's not doing anything? Is my opinion worth anything? Maybe not. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It helps us all think. How can we approach the next project? That's all it is. So it's not a passing judgment. I'm really trying to sell it to you. So hopefully I get to see that. Oh yeah, Delshon just got engaged. Oh well, just got engaged. You haven't crossed the line yet. Oh. Hello. Cross that threshold. Why, hello there. I didn't watch Obi-Wan. I was talking to my new the boss there at the college, and he's like, "Hey, did you finish Obi-Wan?" I'm like, I haven't actually watched Obi-Wan. I never really watched Obi-Wan at all. Sorry about that. Let's get back to this comment. West Paradise says, have you ever, or do you still occasionally, experience doubt when it comes to take an idea from excited idea stage to an execution stage, writing an example of execution. It's not so much doubt, it's that the excitement energy aren't there enough to keep compelling you forward. I'm not so much. If you're talking about doubt, it's something I felt in my life a long time, and I've thought about a lot. Like if you commit an idea, like say you have an idea for a short film, and then you go through the entire process, and then you're there shooting, and you're like, this is really as good as I thought it would be. And then you're like, well, the answer to that is to just finish it and just keep doing it, finishing it. Like I don't experience doubt as not so much as just lack of emotion. I hate to say it. I hate saying lack of drive to make things, because that's you never want to wait till you're motivated to do something. You just gotta start doing it. I should take the damn advice. I need to start finishing these projects. These weddings I've been finishing. You just gotta do it. And I think the more and more you do of it, the less and less the doubt becomes a concern, and it's just more about executing it. And I enjoy the execution. I enjoy the execution a lot. So good question, Paradise. Yeah, I feel you, and then believe me, I'm probably right there with you. And the advice I give you is probably the advice I need to take myself. Just do it. My research versus gaslight, my autofocus doesn't seem to be working very well. Well, that's which camera depends on which camera you have. Is it my autofocus, or is that? I think my autofocus is hanging in there. Okay, that's actually not. That's actually a fake blur back there. I mean, as in the picture is blurred, not the actual photo. The camera isn't introducing that. I'll have to watch your video about DOF, because that makes absolutely no sense. I know it's, and I've argued with people a lot over it. Like if you go in the comments of that, it's called the. So it's actually as part of the lens series I did, and it's really the most staggering one is the depth of field. Why smaller sensors have a shallower depth of field, and I touch again on it in the deep focus video. But I mean, TLDR it's not the sensor that makes your it's not the sensor that makes your depth of field. It's the lens that makes your depth of field shallower or wider. So the reason why if you just take it apples to apples, shallow or a small sensor versus a large sensor, the apples to apples in that you don't change the focal length. The smaller sensor will be shallower because it's taking a smaller part of the image. But because in order to get the same field of view, you need to go with a much wider lens. The wide lens overcomes that and makes the smaller sensor deeper depth of field. And it becomes even crazier when you reverse that and go with a large format camera. Like, why is a large format, like a 4x5 film plate, is super shallow, right? It's super shallow because you're using super long lenses. Like a medium lens on a 4x5 is like 135 millimeter. Like if you're 135 millimeter lens, like between me and the camera, which is about 6 feet away from me, 2 meters if you're in non-freedom units, just joking. Then 135 millimeters, you can get your eye in focus and your nose will be out of focus. It's like that's shallow, because it's the lens. It's not the sensor. Anyhow, do you watch Bald and Bankrupt video? I don't never heard of that. Like Godzilla, maybe. Hope you're doing good. I'm in England now, and I'm rewatching your 24 FPS video on Gemini on the Biggs TV. There you go. That video, I try to hold myself on that, but anytime somebody comes on there and says, well, I got to figure it out now. Apparently, you just need to be a better actor in order to work in high frame rate. Like, the problem is that actors just aren't good enough, and that directors aren't good enough to work in high frame rate. That's the problem. You all need to improve your craft. That's how you get better high frame rate movies. It's like, whoa, dude. It's like me walking into your 5th grade class, because these are 5th graders. Me walking into your 5th grade English class and saying, you know what, your paper on what you did on your summer vacation, instead of 1 page, I want you to make it 5 pages, because you know what? I'm not impressed with your essays. I need them to be longer. I need you to make more work. Okay? You need to work harder. You're not working hard enough. You need to work harder. So it's just it just gets me right here. That looked disgusting. It gets me right here. Oh, my heart, stabbing me. I hope this is entertaining to people that are watching. I have no idea. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm being an idiot, but whatever. Now when I turn 40, it doesn't matter anymore. It's all downhill from here. Let's talk about Walking Dead. Walking Dead or Watching Dead? Oh my God. That comment's going to make my brain explode here. The Walking Dead is no longer shot on 60mm for the final 6 episodes. What a joke. Oh, that's a shame. I'd love to submit my students' short film rough cuts. Cool. Yeah. Send it over to, go to filmmakeriq.com/contact. It's just John at filmmakeriq.com. Just send it there. I'll take a look at it and see if it works. Oh my God, Delshan, your super chat. That's amazing. From Delshan Prejean, is there a preset value there that are baseline for making videos look like TV action series? I want to shoot my short with an A7 III, or is it all in post? Okay. So you're asking a lot of questions here. So I want to do a video on how to make something cinematic, right? Because everyone talks about how do you make cinematic videos. Now, the problem with that, not the problem, the first thing you need to ask yourself, what do you mean by cinematic? Do you mean cinematic as in Charlie Chaplin? Do you mean cinematic as in a Hong Kong kung fu movie? Do you mean cinematic as in Lars von Trier? Do you mean cinematic in as in Marvel Cinematic Universe? You know, which cinema are you trying to emulate? Right. So if that's the first clue. So the question you're asking is, how do I make it look like a TV action series? Well, you have to sit down and really study your TV action series. Now, frame rate 24. Don't even ask any more questions. Your frame rate's 24. If you're making a cinematic video, your frame rate's 24. We can go into long discussions. In the long discussions on how to do that. Okay, now action video, action films, television. Like, I really like the action in Everything Everywhere All at Once. So you can kind of look at that film. Okay, well, where would they put their cameras? How did the cameras respond to the punch? Like if someone's punching at a character, does the camera like wince, like get thrown by the action? There's a couple shots where they flip the person on his back and the camera flips over, but they're all very tastefully done. So I would say, if you're trying to figure out how to make your movie look like a TV action series, pick a series that you really like and study it and see and look for the little subtle clues and how do they do things. You know, study it really carefully and figure out, okay, I like the way this shot. Oh man, that's really cool how this fight builds and builds and builds and builds and it hits on this high point. Okay, I like where that's going. You know, and then you can kind of work into the craft of how to actually perform the stunts themselves. But basically, that's what you want to do. If you want to shoot it with your A7 III, you absolutely can. There is nothing stopping you from shooting a really good-looking action film with an A7 III. People, well, it doesn't have the rolling shutter. Nah, I don't care. You can do it. Remember, the main difference between what we do as independent producers, as people with no money, and Hollywood, is Hollywood can build sets. Hollywood can find the most gorgeous locations, right? Hollywood has makeup artists. Hollywood has the most beautiful blah, 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 right? Hollywood makes all the stuff that happens in front of the camera, all right? They have all the money to spend on what's in front of the camera. The camera, although the Alexas are nice, they're Reds and you know, they're all fantastic, Sony Venice and all that stuff. Love to have them. But your Sony A7 III definitely will hold a candle. If you could shoot with all the beautiful Hollywood stuff, you know those videos that Apple always does? Like every time Apple, like, oh, we're introducing our new Apple iPhone cinematic mode, right? Well, yeah, it looks great because you spent all this money on the set design and all this money on the actors and all this money on the choreography and all this stuff in front of the camera. It looks great. You put an Apple phone onto it. Yeah, of course it looks great because the technology is very much there. I'm not saying that Venice and Red and Arri don't have their particular niceties about them that make them better. Of course they do. Of course they do. But you can do something similar. Anyhow, hopefully that helps you answer the super chat. Appreciate the super chat. Always appreciate the super chats. Even though I do spend a lot of time on answering one question. Well, I said you probably watched the DOF video, probably, but check it out again. It's a fun way to remind yourself of how everything works. There you go. Any lighting tips for shooting a short Batman parody clip for a commercial? Awesome, great question. Especially the rooftop scene with an actor looking at the city skyline. Ooh. Okay, so that one might be. My initial thought is maybe you might want to shoot it like if you're doing a Batman from the skyline, maybe do it like really like dusk. Don't wait till actual nighttime because it might be too dark. Like go with maybe a dusk, like a sunset colors, and then when you get in the post, do a day for night kind of thing and just push those colors more toward blue. That's just my off the top of my head. May not work. Don't crucify me if it's not a great idea, but that might be helpful if you're doing. Don't go full day for night. Don't go shooting like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That will never look good. But if you do like a more of a dusk time period, then you might be able to get more. You might be able to push the colors a little bit more toward night to get that look. Obviously, Batman lends itself to film noir, so all kind of noir lighting setups would be good. Yeah, have fun. I wish I could be working on that. That sounds like a blast. And hopefully you're getting some good pay out of that. So good. All right. P.S. I love that video. Probably one of my favorites of yours. And I'm definitely on your side when it comes to 24 FPS. Yeah. I don't know why I don't know why people are arguing with me about 24 FPS. Well, I don't want to look a gift horse because that's paid me some money. I think when I streamed Dune on HBO Max, it was 60 FPS. I found it distracting. People walking very rich video-esque. So when we're watching Batman, it had a little bit of that little bit of a that texture. So you could tell. It's like, it's not quite film, because my motion smoothing was on to just the bare minimum. It was on though, and it was bothering me. Yep. You want it to look like The Wire. Oh, good choice. I've never watched The Wire, but I've seen some compilations videos of that. So study The Wire. Study, like, go through and then look up what looks good about The Wire. Look at the color. Remember, like, everything has to do. The camera is the least important part of what you're trying to do. It really is. At this point in this time period we live in, the camera is the least important thing in filmmaking for the bottom budget folks. Doesn't matter really. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you like. And the problem you're going to face is the sets and the lighting. A big mistake I think is going out and shooting scenes on the street at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Doesn't look good. It just won't. You always want to shoot, like, you don't necessarily need to shoot golden hour, but you need to shoot like later in the afternoon or early in the morning. You've got to get the light at the right angle. Lighting, sets, the environment, your actors, your costuming even. So all of that stuff is way, way more important than your camera at this level. Way more important. And probably at the Hollywood level, it's probably way more important. Of course, there's more money at the Hollywood level. I love that. Cinematic, as in which button do I press and does it resolve? It's this big cinema button. It's right there. Cinema! Identifying genre seems to be a core purpose in directing and cinematography. Yeah? I mean, yeah, genre is essentially, genre, people can kind of like look down upon genre, but it's sort of a shorthand of how we, communicate certain ideas. And you can play with genre and bend genres, like if you were trying to light a comedy, you're lighting a comedy differently than you would light a drama. At least in theory, you can always play against genre and light a drama like you light a comedy, where everything's super bright and superficial looking, and it's like a horror movie. That's maybe that'd be kind of cool, kind of like what Midsummer did. So genre is important. A lot of people talking about cinematic look think it's mainly about image, colors mostly, without really, realizing it's actually all about shaping the light. Amen, brother. And I think it's shaping the light and also camera movement. Because I think most people, when they talk about cinematic, they think, oh my God, it looks cinematic because there's camera movement involved. Because I think that's what separates the average, at least for me in my days, like the low budget filmmaker put their camera on a tripod, whereas the Hollywood studio would lay down the dolly tracks and do a nice dolly move during the scene. So that to me was always cinematic. You know, that's one element. And of course, depth of field was a lot harder to accomplish back when I first started. So depth of field that resembled the look of 35 millimeter super film, that was cinematic, you know. So, but again, depends on what you mean by cinematic. Well, what do you mean? What kind of cinema are you going for? The cinema look of Citizen Kane looks a lot different than the cinema look of DCEU, whatever, expanded universe. I love cheese pizza, soft, juicy cheese pizza. I've never heard of cheese pizza described as juicy. I don't think I would go with that far, but I appreciate the sentiment. And although I've never ordered my cheese pizza for myself. I can appreciate a good cheese pizza. I can appreciate a good cheese pizza. Actually, have you made a video about central contrast ratios? I have not, and you made a great comment. That's a topic I've actually wanted to do, is contrast ratios. I've touched on contrast ratios, but I would love to talk. I like to do it like a good, because sometimes I have to be careful not to do videos that are too like hyper high end. I gotta like do more general audience, and I think a contrast ratio to sit down and say, okay, this is what a low contrast ratio video face looks like. Here's what a high contrast ratio, and then notice how we adjust it, what kind of mood we're establishing. So yeah, I think that would be a great video. I will probably end up doing a whole video on like, I should just do a video on 3-point lighting and include contrast ratio in that. 3-point lighting will be a topic we cover in the class that I'm going to teach, so maybe I'll get some ideas there. The Wire is great TV. Highly recommend. Opening scene is a classic. I gotta watch a lot of stuff. Right now I'm going through I guess we're on the season ending of The Boys, which I absolutely love. The season I think is particularly good. It's funny how in the show The Boys, if you aren't familiar with it, it's Garth Ennis's comic book, which is about imagining superheroes only if they were all assholes, which is probably more real to life than the other version of superheroes. Definitely this final season, the thing with The Boys is it has a lot of gross out gore comedy, I guess you would say. I mean, it's shock humor. It's a lot of shock stuff, right? But to me, what makes The Boys good is, okay, they showed this thing called Hero-gasm. If you know the comic books, you know what Hero-gasm is. I was not very impressed with the way they did Hero-gasm. But then again, I've been desensitized by all this mayhem that's been happening since. Like, Hero-gasm was not particularly wow for me. But what wowed me in that episode was just the story, the acting, and the fight between there's three main characters that have a fight. And that fight, although it had a lot of punching and all that, it was really about the emotional baggage between the characters that really felt gave me that core. So ultimately, when I finish these episodes of The Boys, yeah, I appreciate the gore humor and the over the topness of this thing. But ultimately, the story is what sucks me, and the characters and the acting. And Anthony Starr, people have been saying great things about Anthony Starr as Homelander. He might be the next Wolverine. I don't care about Wolverine. I think he's great. The show is fantastic. So I've been watching that. And the other show I've been watching, which is For All Mankind, which is a show about what happens if the Russians beat us to the moon, what would happen to subsequent space race. And it just kind of creates this fictional alternate timeline universe where we have developed moon bases and now we're going to Mars. That show is where I derive this idea for kitchen dramas from, because that show packs in a lot of great kitchen scenes where there's like two people talking in a kitchen. And it's surprising. Some of these scenes are just surprising. You think they go a certain way, but they don't. And the way the actors, the way the actors just interact with each other, the level of performance on that show is just wonderful. It's like, this is great. This is, like I was getting tired of. It's in a sense like it's melodramatic soap opera-y. Not really. It's more political, political drama, but. Like the reason why I really loved Downton Abbey for a few seasons, but I got tired of Downton Abbey because I realized all it was people just sitting in rooms, sipping tea and gossiping, and like every single scene became, oh, did you hear what Ethel had done with the new butler of hers? Oh, really? No, what was she doing? She buttled the butler. Oh, I can't believe she did that. And then like scene. And then next scene, now we have Maggie Smith. Oh my, I don't think that's proper. And the snarky line goes here. Yes. And then scene. And it's just like, there's nothing, it just get routine and formulaic. Oh, did you hear he died on the Titanic? Oh no, really? Oh, it's just, yeah. But anyhow, I recommend For All Mankind, and definitely The Boys. Is kitchen drama an actual term? It was an old term that I learned when I was studying the guy that made the 12 Angry Men. Like he called it a kitchen drama, and they were called kitchen drama or kitchen drama series. And some of these, basically, it was a term for TV shows that were about real life, that weren't about like cops, and weren't about or cowboys or space aliens or whatever. It's just real people living their real world. I mean, it was like, it wasn't mumblecore of the 50s. DJ says Downton Abbey is just like how Eddie Izzard describes British films. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Downton Abbey, stop, John. Oh no, Maggie Smith just made a proper comment. Maggie Smith is however a total treasure. She's just awesome. I'd have Maggie Smith in everything I do, right? What's my favorite movie? And what's your opinion on the people that think vintage camera lenses looks being more pleasing? My favorite movie, the one I always reach for is Dr. Strangelove. Although Everything Everywhere All at Once is getting up there. It's in my top 5 at least. Mad Max Fury Road. The modern movies I really love. Those are some of my favorites. Why do vintage lenses look more pleasing? So this is an idea that I had. I saw this. Did you guys see this TikTok thing that ran around for a while? I'm so late to every freaking thing. But there's a video about these TikTok people that were taking their lenses and scratching them up. And creating, like taking their camera lens and taking a rock and just like to it. I thought, you know what? I mean, it's a valid thing to do, but I wouldn't waste a lens. So I bought some 4x4 glass plates. I got some plastic ones. I got some glass ones. And I wanted to basically scratch them up and use them in my matte box. When I was first starting off in filmmaking, I thought, man, you need to have a matte box to make like movies, right? You need a matte box. Those things look so freaking cool. Oh my God, a matte box. Let me tell you the number of times I've used a matte box in a paid situation, 0. I've never had a use to use a matte box in a paid situation. I used it a couple times on a short film that I did. I mean, for certain applications like blocking out the sun, I get it. Nice, it's cool. The shade, the French flags definitely help that. But matte box, man, I've never freaking used a matte box. I mean, it looks awesome. Yeah, it looks cool, but to me, they have so little use until this video where I'm going to take these 4x4 pieces of glass. I have them back there. Scratch them up. I'm going to maybe think about taking some watercolors and like painting, making my own like gradients. Just play around and see what it looks like, and maybe do a little video about that. Your daughter's into The Boys. How old is your daughter? I don't know if you're letting my daughter was like 15. I let her watch The Boys, but if it's like younger than 12, I don't think I would. Some shows are for parents, and some shows, Terminal List was pretty surprisingly good. Cool. I'll check that one out. DaVinci Resolve has a matte box button now. I'm sure it does. It's a little cinema. Cinema! Make cinema. My daughter and I bonded over Downton Abbey. Favorite line was Martrich, The Weekend. What's that? LMAO. I'm a snob. I got that line. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I think I'm not dissing Downton Abbey. It just, to me, it got repetitive. It got just super repetitive. Oh, vintage lenses. Oh, let's talk about vintage lenses some more. So there are some. Thanks for reminding me, DJT. There are some things about vintage lenses that are not present in the modern lenses, especially if you go back to like the Petzval lenses, going back to the 1800 styles. There's a swirly bokeh, which is the way I don't quite know why, but it's just the way that the bokeh just kind of, instead of being sharp circles, it kind of becomes like a swirl, it has this rounded blur. Especially if you go further out, the bokeh becomes more like parentheses rather than straight circles. So that could be an effect of it. There's something tactile about, there's sometimes a rejection of the perfection. Rejection of, like, look, all our camera cell phones take great photos. They look great by themselves. Why are all these girls so insanely obsessed with putting on these Instagram filters that make them look blurry and all that stuff? Because we don't really want reality sometimes. We just want some fantasy. And sometimes lenses can do that, especially vintage lenses that have a little character and a little bit of age to them. They have imperfections in them that give the image a character that you really can't pull off. The problem with art too sometimes, and I've come to realize this more and more, is we are in an era where you can do everything. You can do anything with a computer. You can make... you don't need to put filters on the lens. You can make the lens do all kinds of stuff in post, right? You can hack all kinds of filters and make it look all gnarly and gnashed up. But there's something to be said about having just created in camera, and that's the way it came out. It came out that way. It's got the imperfections baked into it. That's kind of cool, just the way it is. And sure, you could shoot it on your Red camera in RAW, like 5:1 compression, minimal compression, every pixel perfect, and then go into the DaVinci Resolve and hit the screw this up button, and then just throw on a bunch of lens flares. It's bukkake of an image. Never mind. Yeah, modern lenses are too clinical. That's true. Yeah, they're so perfect. That it looks perfect, and sometimes you want that little bit of lived-in feel. It's like, you remember the whole, if you guys remember back when the prequel movies came out, like a lot of talk was about Star Wars. And Star Wars has that lived-in feel. Everything looks like it's lived in. It's been through battles. But then the prequels come out and they're all shiny and new. That ship is a real shiny silver ship. And I was like, that looks too clean. Yeah. Same idea. All right. Jake Leben-Pezak says, recently penned a piece for Definition magazine about the DFD process. In essence, Cinelab London uses RE lasers to print digital footage onto celluloid and reconvert it back to digital again. Snazzy. Ooh. So they lasers to print digital footage onto celluloid and then reconvert. Then send it back. Kind of cool. Neat. So that interesting. Nice, Jake. Should I buy DaVinci Resolve for my studio or just use free until I make money? Just use the free one. Yeah, no reason to buy it unless you want to spend the money. Do it. I'll be honest. I'm an Adobe user. I will push Adobe as much as everyone hates Adobe. Every freaking time I mention Adobe, I can't stand Adobe. Fine, don't use Adobe, but I use Adobe, and I would not trade Adobe for anything. I'm sorry, I just would. It's just, to me, it's just an expense. But then again, I do a business, so I make money doing this, so Adobe's my jam. Yeah, something cool about lens breathing. I could take or leave lens breathing, but yeah, why not? There's something cool about old lenses anyway. Shayna Shayna, pronounced Shayna. Have you a favorite focal length and why? Also, I said just check out The Quiet Girl. Yeah, I haven't heard some. I know about The Quiet Girl. I haven't watched it. If you can find it somewhere, it's a gorgeous little Irish film. Yeah, it's that black and white one, right? Favorite focal length? For a while there, I was really into my 11 to 16 wide angle lens, and I always use it like 11 millimeter. I find I either gravitate toward really wide or tight. So I really like, I like going to the rectilinear wide, like 11, 16-ish. You know, like those really, that make you feel like you're getting a sense of the entire space. I really like those lenses. And then other than that, I either go from there. And for actual filmmaking, like actual video, I mean, I will shoot the 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhere in there. And then the other extreme is to go to the 200 and up. So I tend to gravitate, I think, toward like the ultra wide, mediums, and then the ultra highs. So I like to go extreme at that point. Nikkor 85 1.4D has a bokeh you were talking about, but it's not. Most older lenses, they resolve extremely poorly and has all kinds of issues modern lenses don't suffer from. I wonder if I have an Nikkor 80. I don't think I have the 85. I have the 55s. Cool. Sean says boo kaka. German or the original Japanese? It's whatever you want it to be, Delshawn. Whatever you want it to be. I like The Expanse because all the ships and equipment looked worn and used. Very un-Star Trek. Yeah, I love The Expanse. Love The Expanse. I was trying to listen to the latest book. I kind of got into it a little bit, but I'll be honest. The author said some stuff on Twitter. I was like, really? And I kind of lost interest in the book. Oh, well. I shoot all my films on the Hubble. A little hard to manage, I'll give you that. But the results are breathtaking. Man, the results are stellar. You set yourself up for, and it's like, whew, you set yourself up for a humdinger pun there, but you didn't do it. I shoot all my films on the Hubble. The results are stellar. Come on. DJT, thanks for the super chat. All right, $20. Let's see. Thanks for all the lenses, especially the video on dual ISO. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your super chat, and thanks for hanging out with me on my sad day here. I'm kind of bummed out, but thank you. I appreciate the super chats. I read almost all your comments. The super chats are just a nice little bonus. Thank you so much. Have you finished Barry? Yes, I did. Barry season 3. Barry. Goddamn Bill Hader, how does Bill Hader do this? Bill Hader is the most exciting filmmaker working right now. He really is. Now, look, I think that Jordan Peele had a good start with. Jordan Peele had a great start with that movie. Dang it, I forget the movie. He first broke out that movie. But Jordan Peele kind of started falling into a little bit of the, my brain is fried right now. What's the name of the M. Night Shyamalan? Jordan Peele fall into the M. Night Shyamalan trap. Now, I haven't seen his latest movie. I heard maybe it's good, so maybe he'll recover from that. But M. Night Shyamalan, got into this trap where he started making, really, he had to make a twist. He had to make a twist. And Jordan Peele, I think, is finding himself in that place where he's cubbyholed himself into I gotta make these thrillers that have a twist that are about race, basically. And I feel bad for that. I feel like he's getting cubbyholed. But Bill Hader, mother effer, that guy, his season 3 was amazing. He got to do all these cool. The thing that gets me is that the motorcycles. There's no spoilers. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you haven't seen it, you're not gonna get spoiled by it anyways. This is a motorcycle. He's being chased by a motorcycle gang, and he just it's just one camera, and all it does is he goes to a car lot, and the motorcycle jumps on the car lot and goes on the roof and starts shooting, and it's one take. And it's just after the sun is set, just barely. So there's a little bit of light, and he starts shooting. He's got the helmet on, And everyone's fleeing, and then the owner goes into the car store, the dealership, comes out with a shotgun, whoosh, whoosh, blast, kills the guy on the motorcycle on the roof. And then Barry, who escaped, and he's like in the crowd, he pretends to be a crowd, and he like walks away. And it's just one camera shot. It's like, Bill Hader, man, oh man. Bill Hader is my hero. I love the guy. Absolutely love it. Yeah, did he direct all the episodes? No, he directed a couple on season 3. Oh, directing all the episodes in season 4. And I know he directed a few on season 3. The ones that he directed on season 3 are amazing. They're just like, whoa, Bill Hader, god damn, Bill Hader, man, oh man, and he's like, and Bill Hader, I hate you so much because I'm so freaking jealous of Bill Hader. I wish I could have. I mean, the thing about Bill Hader is like you can look at Bill Hader and it's like he got there not because he's a pretty boy, not because he's sex symbol. He got there because he's smart and you can tell he's working his ass off. God damn, Bill Hader. Bill Hader. Oh. Anyhow, I love Bill Hader. I love he. And it's not just Barry. Like Barry is incredible. Barry is a culmination of all the. But it's going back to SNL. It's going back to his work on South Park. Bill Hader also. Maybe what I'll do if I do talk about the Kuleshov effect in my class, I'll probably use Bill Hader's face because Bill Hader and Barry is basically the Kuleshov effect. Like Bill Hader embodies Kuleshov. Because all he does is he just looks at with his eyebrows. He just does that thing with his eyebrows. The entire show is him reacting just by looking at the camera and not going over the top, not going understated, not being pretentious. Just, he's so freaking. He is my. I love Bill Hader. I love him. I spent the last 5 minutes just bestowing my man love for Bill Hader. Oh well. Oh, hopefully, maybe one day I'll get to meet Bill Hader. MKL Super Chat. Thank you for the Super Chat so much. I appreciate all of them, so we will read them and we'll spend time talking about them. Your video on the history of horror is just superb. Thank you so much. Now, I've been reminded many times, is the history of Hollywood horror. I didn't go over all the other countries because I'm an American and I'm tunnel vision that way, but I try to do my best on that horror. At least get you a starter position on where everything is. So I appreciate that, MKL. Thank you so much. I named my third cat Barry to replace Jan, the sister of Hammer, and I'm also a Marine. Oh, Semper Fi. Jan Hammer, Miami Vice, a 52-year-old. Yeah, nice. So I have also a naming technique for all my computers. It started when I got a computer, and I bought it from Dave Dugdale. If you remember, Dave Dugdale's recommended this case, and it's called the Thor. And so I call it Thor Edit. So from then on, I started calling every one of my computers is based off of Thor's the Thor Marvel universe. So the next computer after Thor was of course Loki. And then after Loki, I had the computer running now is I want to say this is Hella, might be Hella Stream. Yeah, Hella Stream is the computer. Odin is the one running the background stuff. That's Odin. And then the hard drives I call the little portable drives. I name them after all of Thor's weapons. So I have Mjolnir, I have Stormbreaker. And a couple others I can't remember. Greg asked, what was I sad about, bummed out, dude? If you go back and rewatch the beginning, I talk about like my mom, like the health issues. She's doing better now, but like I'm basically trying to balance my life, trying to take on responsibilities as being a caregiver now. So everything else is taking a backseat, and just trying to figure out a way to like get back to a point where I can make things again, and my business, which is kind of slow right now, but that's okay. Now, Super Chat, thank you so much. From Corella Entertainment, you need an editor, a VFX artist, or a sound engineer. Do I need one? Yes, I do. But the problem is, like, I have a certain style and a workflow that it's not really good for remote work. Like I need to be almost in the room with somebody to do the editing. And of course, and the other problem is I don't make enough money to hire somebody. I need to make enough money to pay for myself. And right now I'm not doing enough business to. I mean, I'm doing enough business. Well, I guess I'm doing okay. I can at least pay the rent, but no, you know, I need to. I would like to make more. I think I can make enough to make some savings. So, and right now I'm just, you know, because I'm paying my mom's caregiver, so I'm taking the money from her Social Security, also depleting my whatever money she has. So I got to figure it out. And being from my dad was, you know, my dad grew up in the Depression. My mom grew up poor, so they instilled those lessons on me. So I get super nervous, although I spend way too much money on Amazon, way too much money, buying all kinds of stupid shit. Well, you know, buying like adult diapers and stuff like that on Amazon. But anyhow, you know who I'd like to log into on that is Jane Foster. I haven't done a Jane Foster one. You do a Jane Foster. What brand of mobile hard drive do you recommend for video filmmakers? Should have to be a paid ad. Yeah, I wish. So, what I recommend, I'm Western Digital, Maxtor. What's the other one? I don't really care. The Seagate's the ones I use a lot. What's the name of that? The one, the silver case that you always see everyone buying. They're pretty good. My experience is every hard drive, every single hard drive manufacturer has. If you go to the comment section, you will find somebody bitching and moaning about how the drive failed in the first 5 minutes of operation. Every single one. So I just shop on price at this point. Oh yeah, Greg says, sorry to hear that. It was my mother's care until she passed 2 years, so it's easy on yourself, brother. Yeah, I know. I also felt like, you know, was I being as watchful as I was when those caregivers were not? They're not. They weren't being as helpful. They weren't doing. Yeah, I did tell them to leave the light on. They didn't leave the light on. Stuff like that. Anyhow, I too am my mother's caregiver. Well, you know, I think we're getting to that age, aren't we? You love me. Uh-oh. I know. We love you, John. I know. Star Wars. Okay. I'm not being a narcissist. Editing for sure is hard to do with style in mind, but VFX and sound design, money is not a problem. Let's talk. All right. Well, especially if you're in the California area. Like, and I have a particular, I have a style, especially when I do Filmmaker IQ videos, it's a very chalkboard, educational style. So I have a particular style that I do. What time is it? Is it 4:30? I'm going to make my mom a good dinner tonight. I went to the Asian store today, and I went there for noodles. I wanted to make like a chow mein thing. But then I saw some shrimp. I was like, shrimp's on sale. Get some shrimp. Oh, giant squid. Yeah, let's get some giant squid. So we're going to be eating giant squid and shrimp. There we go. I love this. What influences your filmmaking outside of films? Music, paintings, illustration, ballet, opera? Good question. DJ. I am about ready to do 3 musicals coming up. Musicals, to me, are the most... I love musicals because they are the culmination, to me, of all the art forms in the most spectacular... All the performing arts encompassed into one particular medium. I absolutely adore musicals. So I'm going to be doing 3 musicals coming up. What I was going to try to say about musicals is I play in the pit, in the musical pit. When you're in the pit, oftentimes you can't see what's going on the stage, but you can hear it. So what I will do, and a lot of people when they're in the pit, they'll bring a book, they'll read it, they'll look at their phone between the songs. I like to sit there and I like to listen to the dialogue. And then I imagine how I would direct a movie of this, with this dialogue being heard. And I can see and hear in my head what they're saying. And that's kind of what inspires me a lot to make stuff, is hearing that. And sometimes, well, you know, we have really good actors that can deliver it the same every night. Like you can pick up the subtleties. Like when I work with amateur productions, and I mean amateur in a loving way. I don't mean it in a derogatory way. But sometimes you can hear how actors will say a line one night and it will make a huge laugh. And the next night they will rush it slightly. They will not put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. It will just be just a little off. And you can hear instantly how the laugh is not quite right. Or it does, or maybe in this particular song, it always gets applause at the end, but this night it didn't. And to me, those are always interesting to think about and listen to and hear. And the thing about doing a musical is a musical, will be either 12 shows or it'll be, in the case of the Moonlight, 15 or 16. So you really get deep into the story and the nuts and bolts of the story and how everything, why that line is there, how does it play off later. So I love musicals. Ended up on I think it's Sunday. I ended up watching. I have Broadway HD on my Amazon. I watched Miss Saigon. If you watch if you haven't seen Miss Saigon, there's a video of it on Amazon. It is the most freaking balls out, baldy, like badassery, like musical. Is so every freaking song is a power ballad. And it's just like so drenched in operatic energy. It's like it came out after Les Mis, I think. And Les Mis is like, oh, that's cool. But like, what if we took all the most powerful things in Les Mis and just like squeezed everything out until it became one giant ball of power? And that's what this particular production of Miss Saigon was. Just insane. It's so over the top. Then I watched the old video recording of Pippin, which is not very good, but Pippin is an interesting show. I like the show personally, but the recording was not very good. And then I watched Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So I had a whole weekend of musicals. But the show I'm doing next is called Something Rotten, and the plot of Something Rotten is there are two writers in Shakespeare's time, and they're just jealous of Shakespeare, the way I'm jealous of Barry. Right? Not Barry, Bill Hader. So the two writers, and then they're down on luck. They need a hit, or else they're going to lose their house. The old story. So one of the brothers decides, I'm going to go to a soothsayer. He goes to the soothsayer with all the money, the last bit of money he has. Is, soothsayer, tell me, I need a hit. Can you look into the future and just tell me what's going to be popular? How can I can get a hint on it? And the soothsayer takes his money and says, okay, I'm getting a vision. It's a musical. He's like, a musical? What's a musical? A musical. That's when actors stop speaking and they start singing and dancing. A musical? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So anyhow, it becomes a meta musical. So it's got a lot of references to other musicals. I think I get almost all of them. If I can't name them, I know where they're from. I can hear them. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be hilarious. Because the whole thing's a Renaissance play. So anyhow, that's the story of Something Rotten. He goes to Soothsayer, and the Soothsayer gives him ideas. It's like, I'm seeing a vision. Shakespeare's greatest play will be called Omelette. Omelette? Yes. And they'll be Danish. Oh, Danish. So it's about breakfast pastries. That's so funny. So anyhow, the whole show's about omelet and Danishes. All right, you sent that zombie film? All right, very good. We'll take a look at it. Hopefully maybe do it next week. What did you think of Spielberg's West Side Story? I did not like it. So, okay. I'll talk about it real quick. I feel I don't particularly like Steven Spielberg's cinematographer, honestly. It looks good. It's a style that I don't like particularly, and it's a style that I'm not trying to emulate. Something about Lubezki's that Lubezki and Spielberg together, it irks me. It's got that, it works for some movies, like it worked for that movie, Bridge of Spies. It worked really good for that movie. I don't buy it in this movie. Now the second part I felt was, and this I get in trouble for, I think they made a story, West Side Story, which was already a liberal woke story of the 50s. I mean, it was If you were to go back in the 50s and say, this is West Side Story, it's a story about social justice. It's already woke. They made it woker. And by making it woker, in my opinion, they made it worse. I think what the problem I have with it was they made the white folks basically the bad guys. And I don't think that's the point. In my opinion, it lessens the story if one particular side, if the Jets are the worst people, are the bad guys, that destroys the power of the story. Because to me, the power of the story is sharks and Jets fighting is stupid. Why are you guys fighting each other? Versus now, it's the sharks are fighting only because the Jets are attacking them. I don't think that's the proper. Again, and I got in trouble to this because people, whenever you go anti-woke, people make assumptions that you're racist or whatever. Not. But if you go back to the original source material, which was Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues were indistinguishable. They're both Italians. You couldn't tell who was who. They're fighting for no damn reason. There's no reason why they're fighting. They're just fighting because they're fighting. That's the whole tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. This is a tragedy that didn't need to happen. It's because we're fucking stupid, being territorial and what's the word I'm looking for? Not territorial and not clansmanship, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. That's the thing. Joe Biden moment. It's the whole point is that they're fighting. They're fighting with each other. They shouldn't be fighting. Whereas now, if you make the sharks, they're just working folks. No, they're supposed to be hoodlums. There's even the original. I think the original West Side Story. The sharks were. Even the immigrants were like, I don't want anything to do with that criminal element of the sharks. They're supposed to be like the do-nothings. I think that makes a better story. But I think they went a little bit too far to make them to being the good people, and I don't think that works. So I think that falls on Krishner. I think Larry Krishner, who wrote that. He also did the Star Wars. He also did the Last Empire. I get that feeling from the movie, and I get there's a wokeism about that movie that doesn't jive right for me. Like I was saying with my table of kitchen reads, I don't want easy answers. I don't want anything. Art that delivers easy answers is not art to me, and I feel like they ruined it that way. Other than that, the musical was great. I mean, the music was great. The actress that playing Maria is freaking gorgeous and amazing. She's beautiful. I read one review, they may have made her a little bit too Disney princess, maybe a little bit. But I thought everybody was fantastic. The cinematography, although I don't like the colors, it still looks great, but it wasn't. I actually didn't finish it. Kerminsky. Oh, sorry, not Lubeski. What am I thinking? Kerminsky. You're right. Lubeski's good. Kerminsky's a little bit of a hack. Although, who am I? I'm so successful that I've taken half of my week off to take care of my mom, and the other half I'm taking. I'm doing a YouTube video. I'm sure if Kerminsky did a video, not Kerminsky, but Lubeski, Kerminsky did a video. Yeah, I might have more viewers than he does. I don't know, but tribal. Thank you. Tribal is the word I'm looking for. So that's my opinion on the West Side Story. Like, I've fallen in the trap a little bit of watching a little too much of the anti-woke stuff, because the woke folks are insane. They're just stupid. But on the same token, fixating on something like the woke crowd, which may not be as big as people assume they are, or at least as big as certain media would like you to think they are, focusing on them is also a mistake. Because I think most people aren't as woke as as these people that are in the daily media. So I always try to balance that. Like you have to be able to be critical of stuff that's woke for being too woke because it reduces the power of the story. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyhow. Highly recommend Sundown 2021 by Michael Franco. The lead is Tim Roth. A movie had no plot and never even bothered with a character arc, but still ended up as a quite interesting film. Sundown, okay. Oh boy. What do you think about the 48-hour film project? Have you ever done one? I've done 4 or 5 of them. I would probably do one now because I'm so thirsty for making films that I haven't had, just to get something done and made. But honestly, I think I would finish it and I would feel empty by it. Because in my opinion, the 48-hour film project is not a good thing. It is a band-aid, I think, for people that want to make films, truly want to make films. If you are a working person that makes video all day long and then you get to make a film once in a while, 40 may be a great outlet for that. But for someone that wants to make film almost like as an art form or as a piece of their soul, it's horrible. It's terrible. So I've done 5 of them, and I've had friendships very destructive on certain friendships over the 48 hour. Because what happens with the 48 hours, people assume, people don't recognize that 48-hour film project is not a calling card. You say use it mainly for networking, and that's probably a good place, that's a good thing to do it, use it for. And that's probably why I would probably want to do it myself, actually. To be honest with you, that'd be a good argument for me to do a 48-hour again. To get more actors in my circle and more other crew members. But in the experiences I've had with the 48 hours is a lot of people get so tied up into the 48 hour thinking that this is their calling card. This is their moment to shine. This is the moment to show the world. God damn it, I'm a filmmaker. God damn it, I can do something great. And fuck it all, I can do it in 48 hours. Look at how great I am. I can do this in 48 hours because I'm that fucking good. And the truth is, it never is. If you're a professional, you know the classic triangle, right? The money, time, and quality triangle, right? You know that by heart. You know that if you want quality, you can only have 2. Money, cheap, fast, or good. Pick 2, right? If you pick good, then you can either pick fast or cheap. You can't pick the other 3. So the 48-hour project, fast, cheap, good. Well, it's fast, so you don't have that option anymore. So it's got to either cheap or good. All right? Or no, it has to be fast. So you can cheap good or cheap. Well, you're not allowed to spend a lot of money on the 48 Film Festival. So there goes good. So it's an exercise in fast and cheap. What do you expect? Why are you this special rule that breaks the triangle, the pyramid of quality, right? What makes you think you can make something fast and cheap? I mean, maybe you can make something decent. You can have fun doing it, but that's the problem. Is people get this impression in their head that, oh my God, I need to look how great I am. I'm doing this 48. And then the worst part is, then they take that film and say they win a couple awards. Okay, cool. And then they go try and run into film festivals like, this was made in 48 hours, as if that's something good. as if having been around this world enough, I don't care if your movie was made in 48 hours. I don't care if you shot your movie on a cell phone. I don't care of all these stories about the hardships, or not necessarily hardships, but how little time they had to make the movie, how little resources they had. They don't matter jack crap. I don't care. Is your movie good? That's all I care about. All I care about is if your movie's good. If you spent $1 on it, if you spend $500, if you spend $500 million on it, we've seen $500 million movies that are shit. We've seen $200 million movies that are absolutely horrible. You know? It doesn't matter if you only spent $500. I don't care. Oh, it's the first movie shot on this new camera. No one gives a crap. It's all I care about is the quality. That's the way it is. I'm getting tired, and I'm getting to my ranting drunken self. After the 48, I usually sleep the entire Monday. See, last time I did a 48 film project, I don't think we had SD cards yet. I think maybe I started just barely the last one I did just barely when we started having SD cards. Because back in the day when the 48-hour film project, when you actually had to shoot on tape, like that's, you need to spend like a good 3 hours just digitizing the tape. That was like a huge deal. Now you can just shoot it and jump it on the card. Honestly, the best looking 48-hour projects are basically large companies that have, you have a cinematographer and a separate editor. And what ends up happening with me when my projects, I'm the cinematographer. I don't always direct, but sometimes I just operate cinematographer, and then I will edit as well. And that's just that's a killer project. That's just too much for me. So anyhow, that's it. Oh, what time is it? We got 37 people still watching. It is 4:51. I think I'll spend a few more minutes here. We'll go to a 5, and then I will go work on that video that I was editing, the other live stream that we were doing. Let's see. Let's go back to some other comments. What are you guys saying? Have you ever watched indie movie? Okay. All right. It's late. We're gonna get into it. Have you ever watched the movie RRR and Kashmir Files? I watched RRR. You want a hot take on it? Very good. Very good. But if you made that in America, you would be deemed a racist. If you made that in America, you would be deemed of producing a propaganda film. And you would not, and that criticism would absolutely be accurate. It has a very, look, the craftsmanship. This is the best line I wrote. I did a mini Facebook review on it. The best line I wrote on this movie, RRR. Look it up. It's long. I don't think it's great. I think it's way too long. I think the craft is spectacular. It's got so much masculinity. It makes the not the Untouchables. It makes the Expendables look like a tampon commercial. I love that line. I don't know where I came with that line. Maybe I stole it from somebody, but there's so much masculinity in RRR. It is so over the top. And the dancing is, the music numbers are loved. I loved it. I just feel like if you made that and placed America in it, you would be torn to shreds for how like propagandist that movie is. It is super, super propagandist. It's on the level of like Triumph of the Will, like Hitler. Not saying it's a Hitler movie. I'm not saying it's a Nazi movie. I'm just saying that people in America that root for that movie kind of a double standard. But I will say the craftsmanship of RRR is bar none. It is amazing. It is absolutely, and the dance numbers I think are spectacular. Because I had watched at that time I watched a show called Schmigadoon, and I was comparing the dance numbers of a Hollywood-style musical versus a Bollywood-style musical. And maybe I should do a video on this one day too. Like the difference between a Hollywood-style musical is there's still like an insistence on continuity. Like in Hollywood, if you have a dance number, the dance number should flow from one shot to the next shot. Like the dance should be moving here, and the next shot be the continuity of that motion back forward. In Bollywood, who the fuck cares? Like they're dancing, and the next shot they're in a completely different space, and they're dancing, and they fly off, and then they're this, and it's just an eruption of emotion. There is no continuity whatsoever in a Bollywood musical number. It's just cool shit, cool shots. And I'm not saying, do not take this as I'm saying one is better than the other. I am not. I'm saying that there is a certain style of Hollywood musical dance numbers, and there's a style of Bollywood, and I love them both. But I never thought of it in that terms of how much energy and excitement there is in the Bollywood style. Oh, there's some more comments. Now they're coming through. Yeah, you're right. Right. RRR is not Bollywood. It's Tollywood. It's northern India, so it's not the same. Not Mumbai, right? Not Mumbai film, but it's the other. It's more toward Pakistan area. And it's like kind of like anime come to life. Yeah, in some ways. I haven't watched enough anime though. Wish they tech. Oh, I didn't know what the Telugu language. I didn't know. Well, I watched it in. They was yeah, it was dubbed, wasn't it? But it wasn't. It wasn't English. It wasn't dubbed though in English. But don't get me wrong. It's a spectacular. The craftsmanship of that movie is spectacular. And I'm not. And the hot take about it being like propagandistic, it is. I mean, look at that final dance number, and don't tell me that's not a little bit of a triumph of the will. A little bit. A little bit. Yeah. The car in 1977, thoughts? I don't know what that is. What's the car in 1977? Comment back and we'll talk about it. Oh, is it speaking of Hindi? Yeah, know that because I'm the ignorant American, I will consider all movies that are from India Bollywood, even though they're not Bollywood. I think we need to stop calling things like, okay, Bollywood is cute, but let's stop putting like Hollywood on everything. Let's just stop doing that. Let's just stop it. Like, you know what, Nollywood, right? Nigerian cinema. I got in trouble. So this is how the wokeness police get you, right? So in my video on Mockbusters, I talked about Nigerian film production, and I said the Nigerian film production has problems, and it's hard to make films in Nigeria where you only have electricity, or electricity is spotty at best. And the woke crowd said, "How dare you say that Nigeria doesn't have electricity? Like, what kind of imperialistic, white supremacy is that?" Well, here's a UN report saying that in large parts of Nigeria, and even the capital cities, they don't have electricity 25% of the time. So, and Nigerian movie production is bigger than Hollywood. Don't you know that Nollywood is bigger than Hollywood? Like, you white supremacists, and you think Hollywood is everything. Well, you realize what kind of product that comes out of Nigeria, the film industry in Nigeria? Yeah, they make 9,000 movies a year. Do you know the quality of those movies? They're horrible. Oh my God. Well, let's put it this way. Everybody in this chat can make a better movie than those guys in Nollywood. I'm not dissing. There's obviously some fantastic Nigerian filmmakers out there, but a lot of this stuff is like video crap of the indie world 90s. I mean, it's bad. So anyhow, we also have North Hollywood. Yeah, that's true. I had a friend that lived in North Hollywood. I just got back from Tennessee that had Dollywood. So we have Dollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, Nollywood. Can we just knock it off with the Hollywoods and just stop it? Just stop. What we don't call Atlanta, Georgia, Jollywood. Georgia for film production. I really want to see it in the Telugu. It's so culturally significant to the people who made it. I wonder why they didn't put. I mean, why wouldn't they? Why would Netflix not put it in there? Was that the original language, Telugu, when it was? I don't know if I pronounced it properly. I'll be respectful. But was that the original language that the film was made in and shown in Telugu, or was it shown in Hindi at first? Because I know in Chinese films, and people don't realize, because China has a lot of different dialects, and the dialects are so different that people don't really understand each other from different parts of the country. So oftentimes when they made movies in China, they didn't even bother recording sound because they figured they're just going to dub it for the local market anyway. So that there's that old joke of the Hong Kong action film where people talk like this, that the mouths never matched, never intended to. I thought that was the most interesting thing about the Chinese films was I mean, nowadays obviously they probably do record sound, and you can do it now. But back in the day, they figured, well, we're gonna dub it anyway. You know, we're gonna put it all over. I never so the movie from 1977 about a car that is possessed. That's not what's the name of that Stephen King one? It's not the Stephen King one, is it? But I haven't seen that movie. Nollywood only makes comedy. I don't know what Nollywood makes. Nollywood makes, well, they're trying. Look, it's hard. I get it, you know. But the movies that, even the Nigeria. I was reading up on this because people like to. Being woke is not about being about truthfulness. It's about being virtue signaling. As long as you can put one on the person you're trying to get on, the purpose of being woke is really to make the other person feel bad and feel superior doing so. That's the reason why you're woke. It's not you don't care about facts really. So they're trying to make me feel bad for not giving Nollywood its due. I was researching this and I was looking into like some prominent Nigerian filmmakers, and the Nigerian filmmakers are like, no. This industry is crap, because they're not. You know? Do you know how many movie theaters there are in Nigeria? Less than 100, and they're all mainly in I think Laos, which I think is the capital city. There's like 20, and I looked this up. There's like 23 movie theaters I think in Laos. That's it. In the whole entire country, that's majority of theaters are in the major city. Like movies are so the Nollywood production, and this is also why. Now we're gonna get into this. John's gonna get canceled. Hollywood puts out about 600 movies a year, right? Now the way they count movies in Hollywood is it has to have a theatrical screening. In Hollywood, there are 600 movies produced a year that see a movie theater in Hollywood. That's what the Hollywood product is. Nollywood has 9,000, 11,000 movies a year, whatever it is. But there's only like less than 100 movie theaters in the entire country. So they're not using the same metric. The movies that are being made in Nollywood go straight to DVD. And then you actually see, if you research this, you can actually see they're selling these movies on the street corner. They're like DVDs. They're just selling the DVDs. You know, that's how it works. So to compare a Hollywood movie, which has to go through the entire system of being in a theater, versus a Nollywood movie, which is DVD, direct to DVD. What happens if we were to add all the direct to DVD movies in Hollywood? I don't know what the number would be. Anyhow, I'm going off on a tangent about Nollywood. Just saying. All right, Christine, that's what it was. Christine was that car. I didn't see Christine or the movie from 1977. 1970, whatever. 9,000 of them a year. Yep. The Car, Metacritic. Oh, Metacritic is 21 out of 100. Well, you know, sometimes it's fun to see movies that people pan because they might be fun. Alfonso says, I've seen a few of those Nigerian movies. They were rough, to put it lightly. Yeah. They could they should take my class on filmmaking. They'd up their game by tremendously. RRR was made in Telugu. It was actually from the Tollywood region of the filmmaking, which is different than Bollywood. Telugu is lower class, and they've bested the upper class, Hindi with this success. Cool, yeah. The Car terrified me when I was a kid. The scene when the town was hiding in the cemetery was a nightmare fuel for a 7 to 8 year old. Yeah. You know what I watched recently was Pet Sematary. That's a pretty freaking weird movie. That's pretty disturbing too. Yeah, I'll have to check out The Car. You know, my mom likes horror movies because she understands them. Like, you know, dementia, you don't really understand dramas and talking movies. So horror works because it's primal. So she understands them better. So to become the most popular Indian film of all, we're talking about RRR still, it made by the lower class and it relies heavily on the cultural knowledge of those actors and the director. Yeah, and then I understand those actors have never appeared all the leads never appeared in a movie before, so it's all, you know, it's a big old thing for that culture. That's cool. I just think it's a little propagandistic at the end. It's a little bit, yeah. It made me feel a little icky at the end. I'll be honest. But I can separate the craft. The craft is amazing. Yep. All right, here. If that country that's looted and doesn't have electricity is making movies, it's a great thing compared to looted West who are making awful movies despite being having a big budget. Yeah, I mean, we can go through the history of the cultural, the problem with Africa being that it's been colonially looted continuously, and even now with China buying swaths of it, basically. And you got to give them that, though. At least they're making movies. What's your fucking excuse? Why aren't you making stuff? I mean, I think the problem with Hollywood, I was thinking about this the other day, too, is that deadlines kill Hollywood. Like, there's so many, every time you hear a thing about a movie is bad because it had a deadline. Like, deadlines kill movies. Oh, I got to come up with an idea. Like Marvel's like, oh, we've got our movies lined up to the end of time. Next year we got 3 Marvel movies. Quick, come up with an idea. Somebody, come up with an idea. We need an idea. Come on, guys. That's what happens. Good ideas aren't allowed to float to the top. You're forced to reach for whatever idea you can do. I spent a lot of time in Nigeria. Most places I've been, electricity were not an issue, but yes, places had problems with it. Not sure what the woke told you, but they don't see that being a main. Problem. Well, also remember. The report from the UN was from 2003, so it might have been better since then. But the main problem with electricity not having stable electricity is you might be working in a set and your electricity goes out. And if you don't have power, then you can't shoot your film. So that's the problem. That's why like continuous electricity, especially for like if you want to do like a large scale production, like an actual set with with the big power grid stuff, it probably wouldn't. You need a little more infrastructure in Nigeria. If you wanted to make small films, you could do it on battery power, but and that's not a thing that I just came up with. That's information I've gotten from other people talking about the hardships of working with in Nigeria to make films. It's just the truth. So for Netflix, the only release it in Hindi is kind of a slap in the face. Yeah, that's weird with why Netflix would do that. I don't know. Are there any Australian movies? Absolutely. I did a whole thing where I started going down the path of looking up to Australian movies. Now, I'm going to mix Australia and New Zealand a little bit together. Peter Weir, who's a big Aussie director. So in the 70s, there was a thing called the Australian Film Revolution. Peter Weir was on that. So was Peter Jackson was also involved. I know Peter Jackson's more in New Zealand. We're going to kind of keep them all. But there was Mad Max, not Fury Road, but Mad Max, George Miller. A lot of stuff came out of Australia that was really exciting stuff. Like, what's the name of that Peter Weir film? I don't think I ever saw it though. But I'm really a big fan of Peter Weir too. I'm confusing Nollywood Nigerian movies with other African movies. In the whole Africa, Nigeria is more high budget than. I don't know about that. Nollywood, I think Nollywood's you don't make 9,000 movies a year with high budget. Now maybe things have changed with Nollywood, but I'm specifically talking about African movies from Nigeria, and yeah, those Nigeria does not have a high budget. I mean, there might be a couple, but a lot of the product out there is like video camera, handy cam stuff. Like look up Nigerian Titanic, that's the one. Hey man, get into that, haha. I find it fascinating and don't know much about Nigerian film market. People are afraid to speak literal facts because the woke morons don't like the uncomfortable truths. It's also the problem is people are trying to get one on top of you they're trying to basically make themselves feel superior by making you feel inferior. And I bought into it for a long time. I'm not going to do it anymore though. The ultimate wild guy movie is The Wild Geese. Check out RRR if you want some serious. I mean, I'm not gay, but after that movie, I don't know. I might be. It's so manly. Oh my god. I mean, the guy's mustache is just manly enough. I mean, just his mustache is going to slap you around a little bit. So it's the same thing with video games because you're describing video games now. Am I? What video games are we talking? Oh, we're talking about movies or the budget, the time budgets. I mean, when America, best democracy can make, Abraham Lincoln vampires fighting vampires, and the last song in RR celebrating its freedom. No, it's not quite, not quite. So Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, it's a farce, first of all, and no one's claiming he's a vampire hunter. But I find though the imagery of the RRR, the freedom fighters, again, freedom fighters now. Abraham Vampire Hunter is, no one took that movie seriously, and no one took that movie as it's not a hurrah, Abraham Lincoln's a vampire hunter. It was a joke premise of a film. But if we celebrated what the hell, Donald Trump. If we put Donald Trump on that ending for RRR, and there's plenty of people who would see Donald Trump as a freedom fighter in that sense, and with the planes flying and the militaristic imagery, you don't think that would have some pushback? You don't think so? I don't know. I think you would. I think you would a little bit. And if we put General Custer, and the way he defeated those savage Indians, oh my God, the military imagery and the people dancing like that, you don't think? I just don't think you. I don't think there is a sober wokeism, which is to look back at history and recognize, that there are some complexities in history that, even though we celebrate our heroes of the past, that there are some darker parts of their history that we should not erase. We shouldn't not necessarily dwell on them beyond understanding the world is complex, but there is that soberness that we have, at least in American culture, we have kind of grown to accept. I think you need to accept that when you go back to look at something like RRR. Because I think in 30 years you're gonna. If we export our wokeism to you guys, you might look back at that movie like, ew, a little bit of cringe. That's what I'm saying. And and some of the treatment, some of the treatment of the British soldiers. I mean, I get it, but it's a little bit, Every actor in RR gave his or her dubbing in Hindi. Oh, so it shouldn't be a big problem. So Telugu people just want you to watch it in their language because it brings pride to them. That's true. I don't know. They get canceled and say Jordan Peterson's right. Remember when pride was a sin? Don't be prideful of that. I don't know. It's not my movie. So. Peter Weir is amazing. I agree. Truman Show is genius. And Master and Commander is a severely underrated film. Master and Commander. Yeah, problem being the deadlines. I think that's the problem of all major art. Donald Trump, Big Mac Hunter. It's like I joke with people that we had Pride Month last month. This month is MAGA month. All right. I would totally watch Donald Trump Vampire Hunter. I think we could all agree that would be entertaining as hell. Now everybody says I'm the best. I'm not a very good Donald Trump impersonator, but everyone says I am. I go around the world. I kind of love the vampires, but I'm the best. I just got called on the phone and said, Donald, look, I'm a good vampire hunter, but you take the cake. You are the best. All right. Ramiro says, didn't watch the trailer. I would recommend watching the clips, as long as the vampire wins. Oh, no. Nancy Pelosi is the vampire. Oh, my goodness. I would say go back to the trailer. Watch the clips, watch the highlights of the movie, and I think that will give you the taste of the film, and I think you will see the craftsmanship there. I think on top of that, the movie is too long. It's just too long. It goes on forever. It's not very. It's got weird plotting, and I couldn't figure out the whole. It's lopsided. The movie is really lopsided. It's way too long. Although the craftsmanship is stellar, but yeah. Trump would have been bitten by the vampire in the end of the opening credits and then spent the next 15 minutes denying it. Yeah, that's probably true. He did not bite me. He did not. Being an Indian, I can say we never got freedom or independence. We are living in the farce that we got freedom. British and Americans still indirectly control our country, so criticism about song is justified. My criticism about a song, your criticism is justified. Maybe. I don't know enough about your culture, honestly. Although there's some people here in America say we don't have freedom either. So, you know, there's a lot, but I'm just saying that there's the imagery is a little too reminiscent of some types of imagery that have become, I hate to use the word problematic in our culture. It's just cutting satire. I mean, yeah, once you're done with the live stream, just go ahead and watch that ending song and tell me that it's not a little bit. In America, we would do that. In America, we would parody that. Yeah, at least our song doesn't have the British slogans like Gandhi and Nehru reference in the song. Maybe, yeah. Well, yeah. If you then watch it with the translation on too, and actually look at the words. It's a little jingoistic. Do you think the writer or director of RR were highly self-aware that they were making? The filmmakers don't seem to care about. I think the second one. I think it's the second thing. I don't think the filmmakers seem to care about the global wokeness climate. I think that's and honestly, I don't think most filmmakers, myself included, should be concerned with the global wokeness climate. We should not be concerned what some idiot on Twitter says about us, you know, and we should just accept it. And that's hard to say because I'm hidden in my true beliefs on things a lot. I don't try to start shit online. I really don't. But I don't think we should. I think we should stop caring what some minor, tiny fraction of people who are just pissed off about everything says. And that should probably go with me. I should probably follow that advice whenever somebody leaves a nasty comment on my 24 FPS videos. So what do I care what some gamer says about 24 FPS? He's not making movies. He's not even watching movies. Who cares a crap? So I agree. Now, it kind of echoes that back to when D.W. Griffith made Birth of a Nation. So Birth of a Nation is I've referenced it in a couple of videos. I don't like to I don't like to uphold Birth of a Nation a lot when I talk about D.W. Griffith because obviously it's a very divisive film. I've never seen it entirety. I really don't want to watch it. Because I don't really want to watch it. I just don't. It doesn't interest me. It's, the celebration of the clans. If you don't know the clan, the Ku Klux Klan. I don't have any interest really in watching that movie. I know it's historically important. I talk about it in reference because when I pass through the history, I will talk about it. But you have to remember, the Birth of a Nation, when it came out, was seen in 1914 as a racist movie. In 1914, people were looking at that movie like, oh my God, that movie is racist. In 1914. Like even people in that era, we get this weird vision in our heads that the people of the past, they're all racist because they didn't know what racism. We are enlightened now. We are woke. We have awoken to the fact that there's racism. No, people in 1914 knew what racism was. Even back then, they knew what racism was. It's just that a larger part of the population was okay with racism, including the president at the time, Woodrow Wilson, who screened, Birth of a Nation on the White House lawn because he loved the movie so much. He watched the movie, and if you guys politically, he wasn't a Republican either. So they knew what racism was, and even back then, it was considered racist. Now, D.W. Griffith, he's like, oh, I didn't think this is racist. That's not what I meant by this thing. So he was unaware of that. So he made this movie called Intolerance after that. He was trying to not his apology, but like set the record straight. I believe that the world is unjust because people are intolerant. So he made a movie called Intolerance. So I think with RRR, maybe it's the same thing where they made this movie. They got into the excellence of the choreography, the cinematography, the camera work. I mean, it is all just the dance, the performances, the everything is spectacular. And they don't recognize maybe the kind of imagery that they're doing. Maybe they didn't expect it to be going that big, you know. So I'm not saying I'm not taking down it as bad. I'm just saying that some reactions to it being super positive are a little bit suspect. So anyhow, let's go. The U.S. is an independent country, but their freedom fight is a joke. They got freedom for money, so don't want to share it with the UK. It's freedom only for a while for men, not for Native Americans, black, etc. Yeah, that's true. But then again, the one thing I heard, I was listening to it recently, although the founding fathers were not perfect in their written of the Constitution and all that stuff, they did plant a time bomb in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. Now, of course, back then, men meant everybody. I think they're willing to include women in that. Men as a term that encompasses all people. They didn't say all landowners are created equal. They planted a bomb. I think the reality is, and when I was in Tennessee, I went to Andrew Jackson's Hermitage, which is where his plantation where he grew cotton with slaves, and they're kind of getting face to face with the reality and brutality of slavery and all that. But I think in some ways, a lot of the people that wrote the Constitution knew that they were not going to be able to get rid of slavery when they did in 1776. But they put the seeds in there in the Constitution and in the Declaration of Independence. They put the seeds in there that someday it would be overturned. Because under that line, all men are created equal. That's a powerful thing. You can't, that would be the line that would end slavery, and that would be the line that Martin Luther King would, tap to get civil rights, and that's the time bomb that was there from the beginning. They could have left that out. They could have easily left that out. Why not? But they didn't. So, in some ways, that's my belief on it, at least. Wokeness is so overblown, you will probably find 1,000 more anti-woke takes. A lot of the people are referring to are considerate of others, especially JPB. Refusing to consider. A lot, it seems like people are refusing to be considerate of others, especially JPB. I don't think Peterson is that inconsiderate of others. I'm not sure quite. The thing about wokeness is not overblown in that the fact is that they're the loudest. Like, I'm kind of I won't put any political takes on Facebook because I know a couple people on my Facebook will chime in, and then I'll be sitting there for Facebook for an hour defending a point that there's no reason I need to defend. Oh. Okay, I'll say this now. It's late, and I'm going to log off soon. So the abortion debate's been happening in America, and somebody put a thing, it's her choice. I believe in a woman's right to choose. It's her choice. And somebody wrote, asterisk, there. And I thought, my God, the pronouns and the pronoun wokeness, we have reached the point where it's exploded. It's done. You know what? I want to leave it at that. I won't talk anymore about that. Yeah, that was bad. I hadn't heard of Birth of a Nation until I went to see the Black Klansman in theater. Oh, really? Yeah, it's considered the first feature film ever made, at least the first successful feature film. So, I mean, but the truth is, it's a horribly racist film. It really is. It's unfair and immoral to judge the actors of the past by the laws, morals, and norms, knowledge, and customs of the present. I totally agree with that. But wokeness is driving the market. And the problem with wokeness is, like, wokeness sells. If you can get people angry about, oh, look at this injustice that these white privileged people are doing. Oh, how horribly. You know what's funny on Twitter? Somebody said, I'm looking for some YouTubers who are not white. And my name came up with there. And I thought, I've never considered myself not white, although I guess I'm not. I'm half white. I'm not white. Anyhow, so you can drum up anger by you can drum up attention by making people angry about white privilege and all that, and then you can drum up anger being anti-woke, right? So it's the perfect storm. You get it from both sides. Both sides are capitalizing. That's why the media fucking sucks, because they're both just drumming, this division and anger to sell clicks, so you can sell you another, ad for Doritos. That's what we've come to. Anyhow, that's why this stream is not being sponsored, unless you don't have YouTube Red and you get those little ads coming up. So, yep. Yeah, exactly. Silvo says the founding fathers were aware slavery was a problem. That bit about all men are created was not an accident. I think that's right. Now I agree. There probably were some founding fathers like, I want slavery. It's interesting. So when I went to that Andrew Jackson Hermitage, and Andrew Jackson's been kind of vilified in history, and they're very good about it. They said if you were looking for an angel, you'll find many good things he did. If you're looking for the devil himself, you'll find many awful things that Andrew Jackson did. But it's very interesting because they would not call them slaves. When the people were there, they said they're not slaves. They're enslaved people. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. They're not slaves. Slave is who you are. No, they're enslaved people. They are people who have been enslaved. And I think that was a powerful powerful switch of thinking. I know some people think, some of my anti-woke friends think, oh, stupid woke language saying that. No. That's an important distinction. They were people that happened to be enslaved. That's different. This stream is getting freaking serious, guys. What the hell is going on here? It's supposed to be stupid jokes, but no, getting serious. So they were enslaved people, and it was interesting because they would talk about how they would keep the slaves and their families together, and it was often you wanted slaves to be treated well, enslaved people to be treated well, because honestly, it's a purely economic thing. A slave. I'm using the term. I'll just use it for the sake of brevity. A slave is a person. If you can't get work out of a slave, then they're not worth anything. So you have to keep them happy and healthy. That was That was the cold-hearted calculation of slavery. Anyhow, pretty dark stuff, pretty heavy stuff, but it's real. Sarah says, interesting distinction between modern and historical cinema. Kind of makes me want to see RR even more now, just to understand and learn more about the propaganda film language. Check it. At least go online and just look at the song. The ending song is online. Just go to YouTube. Just look it up. You don't need to watch the whole movie. The movie is not bad. I just think it's long. And again, I have just issues with parts of it. I'm not saying it's bad that it's a propaganda movie. I'm just saying it's propagandist. It's very propaganda. Anyhow. What's a good film? Grasshopper Lies Heavy. Real eye-opener. Okay. If Nazis are trolled for trying to erase the whole race of Jews, why isn't white America questioned, or for literally erasing Native Americans and the Brits for erasing Australia and Aborigines completely? The thing is, I don't think the thing is, Americans are questioned literally for erasing Native Americans. It's constant, dude. And the Brits are erasing Australian. There's a lot. Don't pretend like they aren't being taken to task on that constantly. But the fact of the Native American situation is that they're displaced people, and I'm not going to defend it. They did some pretty brutish things to Native Americans. It's just the truth. Have they been trying to make reparations for that? Yes. I live in the shadow of one of the biggest Native American casinos on the West Coast. Now, you might think that's flippant for me to say that, but are there Chinese casinos? Are Chinese allowed to operate multi-billion-dollar casinos with no taxation? Nope. Are the blacks allowed to be operating large casinos with no taxation? Nope. So don't pretend like the white Americans are not being questioned. They are. They are totally. All males are created equal. I think that's kind of a limited look at limited. That's a limited approach to that language, because I think when they say all men are created equal, they meant men as in all men, mankind, because the term mankind referred to women as well. Uh, people back people back then knew slavery was bad. Look at the abolitionist movement. Would you call them woke? They used to be called traitors. Yeah, yeah. It's. I think what distinguishes woke from just regular social justice. The term used to be social justice warrior, but woke is a different brand. Woke is not just social justice, and it's not social justice warrior. Woke is a particular is a kind of self-flagellating religion where you basically try to destroy everybody else to make for your own superiority. I don't think abolitionists were woke in that definition. Yeah, you guys like the seriousness. I gotta get the seriousness, and I still haven't really revealed what my thoughts are. It's our complications, sometimes our contradictions that makes us human. That said easier. Nobody's perfect, and that I think, and that's the key. It's our complications and our contradictions. And part of me also has to realize that you have to be okay with some level of contradiction. Like you cannot, because if you don't have any contradiction, you're an ideologue, and being an ideologue is not being human anymore. Yeah, India has no caste of people who are looked down upon. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Good point there. Yeah, well, then that horrible movie, Million Dollar. You remember that movie, Million Dollar Baby? Is that the movie? That I thought that was awful. Slumdog Millionaire. God, I hated that movie. Slumdog Millionaire, I thought was so freaking. I know it won an Oscar, but I think a lot of movies that won Oscars I do not like. But Slumdog was one. It felt like it was. It felt like what they call slum tourism. It just felt disgusting. But Americans and Brits are not questioned for their genocide in rage on how Nazis and Germans are questioned daily. Dude, you have no idea what you're talking about, dude. It's literally like every day questioned for a genocide rage. But on the other hand, though, the Americans didn't have factories where they snuffed out millions of people either. They just kept pushing them further and further, They just displaced people. They didn't systematically round them up and shoot them in the face. That's as much as as much as you don't want to draw a distinction. There is a distinction between the two. Wokeness is self-adulation, very much so. And Lego Movie should have won the Oscar. I agree with that. It'd be an amazing day. Yeah, just displace people. I know. I realize that, but I realize that you think I'm making light of just displace people, but to compare displacing people to mass murdering them in factory murder factories, there's a difference. There is a difference. There is a difference. FYI, men in that context is still used to this very day by lawyers and legal documents, and it works the same way as catch-all term for everyone. Yeah, like when I was in college too, there's a little square where all the more liberal folks would hang out. Like there was the Gay Student Alliance there, the what's it called, Mencha, not Mensa, but La Raza, which is the Mexican students, and then they had the women's students, and then they would always spell their women WOMYN, like women, because they didn't want men to be in women. So if you use the word men, it's like, well, women has the word men in it too, so it's all men, women, whatever. All right. Yeah, it looks like most Best Pictures Academy Awards have some PC theme. I long for the days when the Academy Awards could just have movies that people actually wanted to see. I don't even remember what movie won last year. I mean, there was a couple movies I saw that I thought were pretty fantastic. I thought movies like oh my god, I forgot the name of the movie already. The one that Guillermo del Toro made that I thought that was great. Can you explain in short what really happened to Native Americans and Aussie Aborigines? Trust me, on every non-white person doesn't know about their genocide. In my country, no one knows about this. Well, that's your problem. It's your country. Then your country are ignorance. It's your every school kid knows what happens to the Native Americans. I don't know about Aussies because we're not exposed as many to Aussies. Can I explain in short what really happened? Part of what happened in America was basically the Americans wanted to expand the country, and the Native Americans, some of them. Now remember, Native Americans are not one race of people. There are thousands and thousands of tribes. Some tribes were peaceful, some tribes, were, and then the Americans wanted to claim this land as their own, so they said, okay, we got to clear all them out. Some went peacefully, some went to war with America. Don't forget that the Native Americans also had their own slaves. In fact, Don Cheadle's great grandparents were slaves of enslaved people, of some Native Americans. So don't pretend like every white people don't know about this stuff. I mean, that's like to put it bluntly, that's the most. It just shows your ignorance of the situation. That's all. Let's talk about movies instead. I agree. It's getting annoying. Oh, Coda won. I don't even know it's on Apple Plus. Yeah, they have a woke checklist. The production must meet to qualify. I know. Shape of Water. No, Shape of Water was the one he won. The one he made last year. Or this year. Came out last year. What's the name of that movie? It's the one with Bradley Cooper in it. I really love that. Yeah, Andy, I do agree. No one knows what happened to Native Americans and Aussie Aborigines. It's not taught in any school. It's erased from books. All right, I don't know what books you're reading. So they just been injecting that in the books of everything I've read. So, if that's your worldview, I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. If that's your worldview, then it's not very, very educated. Anyhow. Wayne says, West Side Story, I suffered from more than wokeness. It felt like High School Musical. Rita's part was contrived and the kid playing Tony was painful. Yeah, I agree. It's just the wokeness kind of. I was not in the mood that night when I tried to watch it. Other than the two Sonic movies, I have absolutely no idea what movies came out since 2020. Everything Everywhere All at Once came out. Nightmare Alley, thank you. Nightmare Alley. I love that movie. That movie was great. I watched it twice. I watched it in black and white first, and then I watched it in color. I think the color one works a little bit better, but it does work great in black and white. Yeah, someone needs to read better books. I literally don't think anybody anywhere. It's literally the definition of straw man to think that people are erasing this history from the books. They're not erasing it. Not in any stretch of the imagination. Pan's Labyrinth is good too, but that came out a while ago. Guillermo del Toro just makes great movies. The example of diversity thought is that I recently rewatched Gone with the Wind and still can't find why it's problematic now that it's not U.S. Yeah, I know. And Hattie McDaniels won an Oscar for playing that role. But what was I watching? I watched Netflix and I was watching anime and it said like, oh, it's rated like adult for nudity. I'm like, oh, anime nudity. Okay. There's no nudity. So freaking. Did a lot of Native Americans run away from the present day Mexico after genocide started? That dude, like, all right. They look similar to Mexicans, so they became Latinos. All right, there's a lot to untangle there. All right, no, we're not gonna. No, they didn't go to Mexico. Never mind. Did you enjoy the action camera blocking of the West Side? Did you enjoy action camera block? I don't remember the action camera blocking. I didn't honestly. I never finished the movie. I was just so tired of it. Did I like Shape of Water? I did. It wasn't my favorite movie. It wasn't my favorite movie because I enjoyed it though. And looking back on it, I see a lot of like really, really good elements to it. God. Okay, maybe every white person knows about genocide. Maybe they don't prefer to say it out loud. Other people prefer not to discuss it a lot. But I think some part of history is race. I totally disagree with you. I don't think. I think the opposite is true. I think we're going probably into the opposite swing of things. That we are probably making it too much about that, and not about anything else. This is becoming a history lesson stream. I know this is not a history lesson stream. No need to get into all of this now. I agree. You know, I watch plenty of this stuff on other streams. I don't need to talk about it. Apocalypto is a sick South American ancient epic. It's questionable what time period Apocalypto actually occurs. I think the ending gives you the impression as it occurs in the 1500s. So, anyhow, it is. Oh my God, it's almost 6 o'clock. Well, I probably won't be able to do much stuff on that video tonight, but I'm going to go make my mom some dinner. Let's talk blocking a scene. Rambo: First Blood when trauma. One thing that's always interesting is how do you block an action scene, like an actual gunfight and stuff like that. Those are some really interesting. Yeah, Apocalypto isn't about the Mayans. I think that's. I mean, it's basically an unnamed race, right? It's sort of Mayan, sort of Aztec, right? I'm not sure. I'm not totally up to speed on you're asking me to come up with the stuff without researching any of it. I've seen it like a couple times. It's a good movie. Yeah, Andy said I like the history movie. We talk about movies all the time. This is good too. Yeah, I think as long as they're grounded in terms of movies and stuff like that. But I would just end on the idea. I think to say that no white people think about this stuff is a real disservice to the reality. I think it was the Mayans, the Apocalypto. Yeah. Yeah. It falls. I guess it falls in the same trap of the anti-woke thinking that all the woke people don't know anything about, like they can't define what a woman is. It's like we create these straw men on both sides, and then we just topple the straw men. That's all. It feels like that's what the world is becoming. There's no real intellectual dialogue. It's just kind of like, well, the whataboutism, like Americans are genocide the way the Nazis killed the Jews. Not quite the same way. But yeah, I think it's all straw manning. Anyhow. Toffman was trying to talk to Rambo on the radio inside the tent. Okay. I don't remember. I haven't seen Rambo in a long time. Did you know that Johnny Depp is Native American? He's played a Native in Lone Ranger, but he never said in public because he's scared he could be blacklisted from an industry run by whites. Andy, you're a fucking idiot. You're just a fucking moron. I'm sorry. Oh, God. All right. Enough of that. I'm not going to read any more of your comments. What kind of lighting technique would you give the first-class documentary filmmaker? 3-point lighting. We're going to do 3-point lighting. Yeah. Yeah, the question about whether the Apocalypto was supposed to be Aztec, I got the impression it was more Aztec than Mayan. Because I think aren't the Mayan? No, I guess Mayans are Mexico too. Incans are further south. Incans are down there in South America. Wing T Productions. Dang. What, I call somebody a fucking idiot? I'll do that. I'll do that on stream. All right. Well, I think it's time for me to go before I call someone else a fucking idiot. No, that's fine. It's just, I'm sorry. You don't pretend. Don't pretend like the industry is run by whites that they're scared of hiring an Indian, Native American. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh God. I mean, just the level of thought there that requires someone to make that assumption, to make that leap. This is how brainwashed this person is. They have no sense of reality, no sense that they're willing to just. That's what it is. They're willing to throw down their fellow human beings as being the worst of all things they can think of. I guess I'm doing it now, but the difference is I'm right here. All right, where is that? So anyhow. I just want to say you provide a lot of great information for that. I appreciate you. Thank you, Blissful End. Put that on the screen. Hollywood fact. Johnny Depp has never actually been in a movie. That's correct. He's only been portrayed in a movie. Mayans but were attacked by Aztecs. Yeah, I can't. I think the safe thing to say is I don't think Mel Gibson had anybody in particular. Any particular, he's just kind of just generic evil empire kind of thing. What happened to the red shirt? I just started, just kind of getting away from that style a little bit. Yeah, but that was cathartic. Yeah, I kind of started moving away from the old style of green screen board, chalkboard kind of things. Partly because it was so difficult to do. The topics got so broad, and I honestly, I wanted to move away from that kind of style. Filmmaker IQ's evolved, and by the way, Filmmaker IQ was started like, I think about 12 years ago on July 4th. I hate my former partner who passed away, who, I'll be honest, like we've had, the longer I've gotten distance from it, the more I think it's been probably destructive, what was going on with us. But I won't talk about it today. But, he always had a thing he wanted to release stuff on holidays, and then it always ruined the holidays. Let's launch the site on July 4th. Okay, but that means July 4th I gotta come to work, kind of thing. So, anyhow, Hollywood is not run by whites, but I do agree. Now Johnny Depp is scared to show himself as a native in the '80s, and a lot. Okay, yeah. Okay. Blended. I love the movie poster episode. Yeah, I collect the my favorite '70s poster. I've been following Drew Struzan on Facebook. He posts a lot of stuff, although you can't make comments on his posts. Yeah. Anyhow. Just pretend you're not from the U.S. and bam, it doesn't bother you to work on a holiday. There you go. That's the way to do it. Well, it's like you never have time to do anything. You know, your friends want to get together for July 4th. Okay. Yeah, because you know, like no other countries have holidays. Only the Americans have holidays. Only holiday is a white privilege thing, right? That's what it is. All right. Enough of this before I get canceled. Yeah, we'll leave that one. Yeah, somebody just said monkey brain logic. My tribe is great. Your tribe sucks. I agree with it. That's a problem. That really is a problem. Thank you. Came here for knowledge on movies. I stay for the reasonable views on modern historical issues. Yeah, I feel like there's, I don't know, maybe it's just me. There's reason's gone. I'm being black-pilled. There's no more reason. Reason is a thing of the past. We're all just at each other's throats. My tribe is better than yours. There. And I would prefer to have, like I said earlier, I prefer art should have us arrive at tougher questions and tougher answers rather than make them simple. Anyhow. I said I was going to get off the stream, but I haven't. I have lied. I have broken my promises to you and all the viewing folks online. So hopefully we'll be coming back next week. I mean, I might try to take some stuff home and do a stream from my home, but my internet's not as great at home, so it is what it is. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. It is hot. I will be cooking. Thank you. Happy cooking. I gotta take that comment off. There he goes. Happy cooking. Thank you very much. Thanks for the fun stream. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Hope we've talked. I'm not going to read that comment for Andy's. Yeah. Andy seems to be yeah, very, very dumb. All right, guys. We shall see you guys later. Take care now. Ciao. Bye-bye.